Chapter 2396. In the space of the mountain river Pearl, somewhere in seclusion. Beep beep. At that moment, the system's voice sounded. Congratulations, host. You have infuriated a large number of demonic sages of the demon race, instigating immense hatred. The demon race views you as their greatest enemy. You have obtained a total of 400 hatred crystals. I hope you will continue to work hard. 400 hatred crystals. Upon hearing that, Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He never expected that he would obtain so many hatred crystals from this operation. In addition to the hatred crystals he had obtained previously, he now had 1,580 hatred crystals. That was a huge sum of money. However, on careful thought, it was only natural. He had snatched more than 2,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans, and it was unknown how much time and effort it took to gather these primordial heavenly dragon talismans. Now that he had snatched them away, years of effort had gone to waste. Years of planning had been destroyed just like that. It was imaginable how much the demonic sages hated him. They wanted nothing more than to get rid of him. They probably even had thoughts of wiping out their entire race. It wasn't surprising that he had obtained so many hatred crystals. However, Xiaoping quickly threw this matter to the back of his mind. The most important thing now was to refine the primordial heavenly dragon talismans on him. If he didn't remove all the mental imprints on the primordial heavenly dragon talismans, he would risk being exposed. Whoosh! With a wave of his hand, more than 2,900 primordial heavenly dragon talismans floated in midair. Each talisman was like a primordial heavenly dragon, emitting a domineering aura that caused the void to tremble and distort space. Refine. Xiaoping formed seals with both hands as his domineering spiritual perception invaded the primordial heavenly dragon talismans violently. Looking down from above, he forcefully took the power of the primordial heavenly dragon talismans for himself. As he had already subdued the will of the primordial heavenly dragon talismans with the infernal golden crow bloodline, refining them was a piece of cake and did not require much effort. Boom! A domineering will invaded every primordial heavenly dragon talisman. It was extremely domineering, sweeping through everything and was extremely exclusive. All the mental imprints engraved in the depths of the primordial heavenly dragon talismans were destroyed easily. In just a few moments, the mental imprints left on the primordial heavenly dragon talismans were completely destroyed. Far away in Heimu City, the primordial demon sages also sensed it. They could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood because the destruction of the spiritual imprint was equivalent to the destruction of a portion of their souls. Damn it, the mental imprint on the primordial sky dragon talisman has been completely destroyed. There's nothing left. What's going on? This is a spiritual imprint left behind by our primordial beast saint. It contains the power of time and space, an undying substance. That guy is just an undying, how could he destroy it? Regardless of how that fellow did it, the mental imprint on it has vanished. We are no longer able to find the primordial heavenly dragon talisman through the mental imprint. Damn you, Wu Woody. Just you wait. Our demon clan will not let this matter rest. The ancient demon sages gritted their teeth and hated Xiaoping even more. However, the most frustrating thing was that they were helpless against this cunning and powerful fellow. Huh! There's even a spiritual imprint inside. Xiaoping raised his brows. After destroying the spiritual imprints left behind by the ancient demon sages, his divine perception permeated every corner of the primordial heavenly dragon talisman. He was shocked to discover that deep within the primordial heavenly dragon talisman, there was still a transparent spiritual imprint, and this spiritual imprint was much stronger than the ones left behind by the ancient demon sages. It was like maggots attached to the bone, deeply engraved in the deepest parts of the primordial heavenly dragon talisman. This transparent imprint seemed to transcend everything, hidden in the depths of time and space, appearing outside the dimension. Ordinary forces could not even touch it, much less destroy it. Moreover, it contained complete laws of the universe, stacked layer by layer, like a huge net that covered every corner. It was as if this transparent imprint was a complete small world, unfathomable. Dragon scientist Titania. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He immediately recalled that the owner of this Dharma treasure was the dragon scientist who had reached the invincible realm. The universe-level wanted criminal Titania. Even though this Dharma treasure had once been destroyed by the combined forces of the sages, this peerless sacred artifact was nearly indestructible. Titania had many tricks up her sleeves, so it was not impossible for her to leave a powerful spiritual imprint on her intrinsic Dharma treasure. Due to the existence of this spiritual imprint, even if someone obtained this peerless sacred artifact, they would not be able to escape Titania's control. With a thought, she could retrieve this Dharma treasure. If this spiritual imprint could not be removed, then all that hard work would have gone to someone else. Hellfire Golden Crow Fire. Without another word, he circulated the Hellfire Golden Crow bloodline in the depths of his body. Immediately, wisps of dark golden hellfire seeped into the depths of every primordial heavenly dragon talisman, burning the transparent imprint on them. This. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. The Hellfire Golden Crow Fire, which had always been successful and could burn anything, met its match when it came into contact with the transparent imprint. It was as if it had encountered a powerful resistance. Layers of nomological powers surged out, forming a nomological barrier. Even though the Golden Crow Hellfire could slowly burn the transparent imprint, because of its ability to burn anything, it was continuously burning and slowly melting the mental imprint. However, this speed was just too slow. It would probably take more than 100 years to completely remove the transparent imprint. It had to be said that it was indeed a spiritual imprint left behind by an invincible saint. Even after countless eras had passed, it was still difficult to remove and deal with. The power it contained was unfathomable and beyond imagination. Looks like I have to use other means. At the thought of this, Xiaoping's heart stirred. He wanted to borrow the power of the system. This was because the power of the system surpassed almost everything. Even the power of an invincible saint would not be able to withstand it. System, I want to completely refine this primordial heavenly dragon talisman. How many hatred crystals do I need? He inquired. This is a spiritual imprint left behind by an invincible saint. It contains the complete nomological powers of the universe. Even heavenly flames will find it difficult to remove it, so it will take a lot of effort to remove it. If the host wants to completely refine it, he will need 100 hatred crystals. The system answered. 100 hatred crystals. Xiaoping sighed inwardly. It was indeed a supreme system. It could even remove the spiritual imprint left behind by an invincible saint. It seemed like there was nothing it couldn't do. Although 100 hatred crystals was not a small amount, it was still worth it compared to the value of a peerless saint artifact. Moreover, he had just obtained 400 hatred crystals. A mere 100 hatred crystals was nothing. Refine it then. Xiaoping did not hesitate. Yes, host. As you wish. The system said. A powerful, ancient, and unfathomable power instantly enveloped the 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans. Immediately, the transparent imprints melted like snow and disappeared rapidly. They couldn't resist for even a second. Chapter 2397. Somewhere in the universe's dimensional space. A mysterious laboratory. This was one of the dragon scientist Titania's secret lair. Suddenly, Titania's heart stirred. She sensed that something extremely close to her was rapidly leaving her, and she instantly severed the spiritual connection. She felt as though she had lost this treasure forever. What? The spiritual imprint I left in the primordial heavenly dragon talisman has been removed? Impossible. Who did it? Even an invincible saint wouldn't be able to do something like that. Titania's beautiful eyes lit up. To be honest, she was indeed a little shocked. This was because her intrinsic Dharma treasure, the primordial heavenly dragon talisman, had left behind her powerful spiritual imprint. Even an invincible saint wouldn't be able to remove such a spiritual imprint. It was precisely because they knew this that those invincible saints had no interest in the primordial heavenly dragon talisman. They only scattered the 3,000 talismans in every corner of the universe. After all, there was no point in keeping this peerless sacred artifact that she couldn't control by her side. Instead, it would expose her every move to Titania. However, the spiritual imprint that even an invincible saint couldn't remove had been removed by someone today. Furthermore, it had been forcefully severed from her spiritual connection with the primordial heavenly dragon talisman. Such power was simply unimaginable. It was like a god. Interesting. Titania stroked her smooth chin. Although this primordial heavenly dragon talisman is just a Dharma treasure I casually created, it took me a lot of effort. In order to prevent others from snatching it away, I even left a heavenly dragon imprint on it. Apart from me, no one can completely control it. I didn't expect that there would be someone who could surpass my spiritual imprint and completely eradicate the spiritual imprint inside. This is very interesting. How did he do it? She didn't care much about the primordial heavenly dragon talisman that she had lost. With enough materials and time, she could reforge such a Dharma treasure, and it would be even more powerful than before. Now, she was only extremely curious about how she had lost this Dharma treasure. This required spiritual power that surpassed her to be able to do such a thing. But in the entire universe, there weren't many existences who could surpass her in spiritual power. She wasn't bragging, but there weren't many who could do so. And such existences wouldn't be interested in the primordial heavenly dragon talisman. Dong. Thinking of this, Titania stretched out her hand and tapped lightly. Ripples appeared in the depths of the void, as if a powerful neural network had appeared, spreading to all parts of the universe, connecting countless information. After a long time, she opened her eyes. So that's how it is. The person who stole my 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans was actually that human, Wu Wudi. This must be fate. I'm getting more and more interested in this little guy. Titania giggled, her starry eyes filled with interest. She felt that her dying star was about to come back to life, and it was burning hot again. In this universe, there weren't many things and people that could interest her. Without a doubt, Wu Wudi was one of them. Looks like I have to hurry up and find this little guy. I really want to capture him and dissect him to see what kind of structure he has inside. Titania stretched, revealing her perfect and curvaceous figure. She gave off a mature aura, and her beautiful eyes were filled with passion and madness. Within the pearl of mountains and rivers, a few days later. I've finally succeeded. I have refined 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans. Xia Ping took a deep breath. Although he looked exhausted, he couldn't hide the excitement deep in his eyes. With the help of the system, he had finally cleared the spiritual imprint deep within the primordial heavenly dragon talismans. He could completely control the 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans and didn't need to worry about being plotted against by others. Therefore, he infused his spiritual imprint into the 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans and completely refined them, making himself the true owner of the primordial heavenly dragon talismans. Boom! In an instant, the 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans fused together. The talismans stacked on top of each other, finally forming a dragon pearl about the size of a fist. And this dragon pearl was unfathomable, as though it contained the power of 3,000 laws. Countless laws intertwined with each other, forming a complete world within the dragon pearl. This is the peerless sage artifact, the primordial heavenly dragon talisman? Xia Ping could sense the power of this dragon pearl. It seemed to emit the aura of the primordial chaos, ancestral dragon, origins, and so on. At the same time, it also contained the power of countless laws. Buzz. There seemed to be a golden vortex in its depths that constantly spun. It produced a powerful devouring force that constantly devoured the surrounding void's origins to strengthen itself. And deep within the Dragon Pearl was a strange chaos world of the Light Continent. The 3,000 nomological forces intertwined with each other and fused with each other, forming a complete entity. There was even a terrifying primordial heavenly dragon slumbering in the chaos world. Its body was extremely massive, as though it could span dozens of star domains. It was so huge that it seemed boundless. Once this primordial heavenly dragon awoke from the dragon race, it would immediately erupt with the power to tear apart the void and destroy the primordial chaos. What's this? Just as Xia Ping was about to carefully study the peerless sage artifact, the primordial heavenly dragon talisman, an extremely massive energy suddenly surged out from the depths of the Dragon Pearl. It seemed to be the Origin's energy from the Thunder Continent. Originally, the primordial Fey sages had used the primordial heavenly dragon talismans to devour the origins of the Thunder Continent and store all of it in these primordial heavenly dragon talismans. Now, it erupted all at once, surging to every corner of his body like a tidal wave. In an instant, he felt the dermic powers in his body skyrocketing, and constantly skyrocketing. Originally, every spatial cell in his body was incomparably empty and in a state of emptiness. It would take months and billions of years for them to be filled up. This required painstaking effort. However, after obtaining the massive Thunder Continent's Origin's energy, it immediately saved him tens of millions of years of cultivating dermic powers, causing his dermic powers to skyrocket. In just a few breaths' time, the dermic powers in his body had risen to the limit. It was as though he had touched the bottleneck of the near-ancient sage early stage at this moment. I'm about to break through. Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He felt that he had suddenly obtained such a massive Origin's energy. It was equivalent to consuming a large number of rare elixirs that were frantically helping him increase his dermic powers, saving him a lot of effort in condensing dermic powers. All of this seemed to happen naturally without any hindrance. He sensed that he was about to break through to the near-ancient sage early stage, and this realm was just within his reach. He could easily cross it with just one step. Chapter 2398. After an unknown period of time, Xia Ping's body shook. It was as if countless golden crows of hell were crying out in his body, forming a resonance with the laws of space. The void within a radius of hundreds of light years was constantly shaking, and ripples could be seen with the naked eye. Dong. At this moment, as if the conditions were right, the huge energy came crashing over with unstoppable force. The bottleneck in his body had been broken, and it was as if the sea and the sky were wide open. Whoosh! In an instant, the Thunder Mainland's Origin energy from the depths of the ancient heavenly dragon talisman surged into the 9 purple mansions like a tide. And the 9 purple mansions were like dew after a long drought, greedily devouring the Origin energy. It was as if water had moisturized the dry land, and it made one's heart sink. I've leveled up. Xia Ping sensed that he had finally stepped into a new sage realm. Middle stage near ancient realm. After spending some time, he had stepped into a new sage realm effortlessly. At this moment, his sea of consciousness expanded and expanded continuously, as if Pangu was splitting heaven and earth apart. The chaotic region in the depths of his sea of consciousness was constantly being opened up. His spiritual sense had also improved by leaps and bounds. 400 light-years, 450 light-years, 500 light-years, and when it finally stopped, his spiritual sense had expanded to a range of 700 light-years. This is a new space domain. My speed has become even faster. Xia Ping sensed that he could cover a radius of 700 light-years with his divine sense in an instant. His space domain had also become much more powerful than before. It was simply indescribable. It was as if he could teleport 700 light-years with just a thought. This speed was much faster than before. Even the speed of the Middle Ages sages, under the premise of using the space domain, would not be comparable to his. He might be able to cross a small star field in an instant. It's not as simple as my speed becoming faster. The space domain has also become stronger and more indestructible. Xia Ping displayed his space domain. Buzz, in the blink of an eye, with his body as the center, a huge spherical space domain enveloped an area of 700 light-years. Densely packed space law patterns covered the entire spherical space domain, like the patterns on an ancient turtle shell. It also seemed like a spatial barrier, containing an unfathomable power of space. It was precisely because of these space laws that his space domain became even more indestructible. It was as if the space domain on his body had formed a space enchantment. It was almost condensed into a space barrier. Even medieval saints who had reached the Middle Ancient realm and comprehended the time law would need to expend a tremendous amount of energy to shake such a space domain. If a near-ancient saint of the same level were to fall into this domain, they would immediately be suppressed as if they were sealed. With such a powerful space domain, even if he did not have any defensive sacred artifacts, it would not be a problem. In other words, his divine ability was equivalent to a powerful sage artifact. My magic power has greatly increased as well. Xia Ping clenched his fists and felt that his body was filled with extremely abundant power. Every inch of his muscles was filled with the explosive power of a star. A breath could cause a spatial storm, and a punch or kick could shatter the vacuum. Thanks to the growth of the power of his divine sense, his understanding of the space law had become even deeper. It was as if his soul had completely integrated into every part of the void, seeping into the origin of the universe. Countless space law fragments and information from the void of the universe were like a tide, fusing into his limbs and bones, causing his entire body to become more spatialized. Every cell in his body had become an independent space. Because of this, every cell in his body seemed to have turned into a black hole. With just a slight breath, they could devour the cosmic energy within a radius of hundreds of light-years. The area within a radius of 700 light-years would become a vacuum, an absolute forbidden area. It seems that I'm not far from the great perfection realm. He silently comprehended the space law patterns. These space law fragments all gathered in the depths of his sea of consciousness, as if forming a sickle-shaped crescent moon. If these space law fragments were completely perfected and turned into a complete full moon, it would be the moment when he advanced to the peak of the near-ancient realm. At that time, he would be able to comprehend the time law and step into the Middle Ancient realm. My bloodline is also stronger than before. Xia Ping's eyes shone brightly. Reaching the mid-stage near Ancient Realm had not only boosted his magic power and the power of his divine sense, but his infernal Golden Crow bloodline had also improved. Originally, he had awakened 36 billion Golden Crow of Hell cells, but after advancing to the near Ancient Realm, he had awakened 50 billion Golden Crow of Hell cells. This was a lot stronger than before. He felt that the Golden Crow of Hell bloodline in the depths of his body had become stronger. It was as if countless Golden Crow of Hell divine abilities and the power of laws were surging out from the depths of these cells. This also made the bloodline in his body even more incredible. It was as if with just a thought, this bloodline that came from a divine beast could corrode the space in reality. If it was not for him forcefully suppressing the corrosive power of the Golden Crow of Hell bloodline, he was afraid that wherever he descended, the low-level creatures there would immediately be forcibly transformed into the Golden Crow of Hell's kin. Right now, he was so strong that it made people's hair stand on end. Even if a drop of the Golden Crow of Hell's blood fell on a planet, it would transform the planet into a land of magma. At every moment, it would erupt with flames and burn the void. Over time, this planet might turn into an eternal sun, shining brightly and illuminating every corner of the dark vacuum, dispelling the darkness. I didn't expect to receive such benefits after completely refining the ancient heavenly dragon talisman. Xia Ping was overjoyed. Those demon sages used the ancient heavenly dragon talisman to devour the Thunder Mainland's origin energy for billions of years. They probably didn't expect that all the energy would belong to him. Thanks to this extremely pure origin energy, his cultivation base instantly rose to the near-ancient mid-stage. It even filled up his entire body with magic power. This saved him many years of effort in condensing magic power. This was no less than a fortuitous encounter. If those demon sages were to find out that the energy they worked so hard to obtain had all gone to Xia Ping, benefiting someone else, they would probably vomit blood on the spot. But no matter what, these 3,000 ancient heavenly dragon talismans were all in his hands. He had also completely refined them and engraved his spiritual imprint deep within them. Therefore, even his former master, Titania, would not be able to snatch these 3,000 ancient heavenly dragon talismans from him, let alone the demon sages of Heim's city. Chapter 2399. Is this the complete primordial sky dragon talisman? Xia Ping grabbed with his hand and immediately took out the primordial sky dragon talisman. At that moment, the 3,000 primordial sky dragon talismans had already fused into one, forming a spherical shape. The laws of the 3,000 universes gathered together in an endless cycle. The 5 elements fused as one, yin and yang fused together. Ordinary forces were unable to disperse it. The entire sphere emitted an ancient, chaotic, and powerful aura. And the sphere itself seemed to be a complete, gigantic world. It possessed complete laws of the world. Perhaps even the space-time domain of the medieval sages was unable to distort the space-time of this world. More importantly, deep within the sphere were 3,000 primordial sky dragons. It was as though he could summon the 3,000 primordial sky dragons to destroy the world with a mere thought. Heavens, is this the legendary peerless sacred artifact? It's really beautiful. At that moment, the item Spirit Azure Ox ran out. It looked at the primordial sky dragon talisman with an infatuated look. To Dharma treasures like them, a peerless sacred artifact was the pinnacle of existence. It was equivalent to an idol that they would never have the chance to see under normal circumstances. Indeed, the nomological powers it contains are too perfect. It has already condensed into a single entity without any flaws. It's as though it's a world by itself. This is an existence that stands at the pinnacle of countless Dharma treasures. Corinne flew out as well with a look of excitement. He had the urge to pounce forward and touch it. After all, it was a legendary existence. Even his master back then did not have the right to touch it. In fact, he did not even have the right to see it, much less touch it. Master. At that moment, a weak voice sounded from the depths of the sphere. Following that, a palm-sized primordial sky dragon phantom floated out of the sphere. Without a doubt, it was the primordial sky dragon talisman's item spirit. You are the item spirit of the primordial sky dragon talisman? From the looks of it, you seem injured? Xia Ping inquired. He was not worried that the item spirit would betray him. This was because the Dharma treasure had been completely refined by him. Even if it had sentience, it could not escape his control. He immediately sensed that the item spirit seemed to be in a weakened and injured state. Yes, I am the item spirit of the primordial sky dragon talisman. The primordial sky dragon phantom nodded. Just as Master said, I've suffered serious injuries. It seems that during the primordial war, I was torn apart by the combined forces of many sages and scattered across the universe. Even though the 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans have been gathered once again due to Master, allowing me to regain my original strength, my injuries still haven't healed. This has left me in an unprecedented state of weakness. Firstly, most of my memories have vanished. I don't remember what happened back then at all. In other words, you lost your memory. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. It's not as simple as losing my memories. My primordial skydragon's origins has dissipated and I'm extremely weak. I need to devour large amounts of the dragon race's origins to recover to my peak state. The primordial skydragon said in a deep voice, "That's why I appeared. I hope Master can find a way for me to devour large amounts of the dragon race's origins to rapidly recover from my injuries." It indicated that it was very weak and incomparable to the primordial skydragon talisman at its peak. It was even a distance away from the other true peerless sacred artifact. But even so, as one of the strongest peerless sacred artifacts, the primordial skydragon talisman was still bigger than a horse. It was not something ordinary peerless sacred artifacts could compare with. Firstly, it still possessed two abilities. The first was to conjure a projection of the primordial dragon world. As long as it devoured sufficient origins, it could conjure a projection of the primordial dragon world. Such might could instantly destroy a world. Previously, the sage demon of Heimu City had wanted to use this ability to conjure a projection of the primordial dragon world to instantly destroy all the restrictive array formations and defensive systems of Thunder City. Such might was extremely terrifying. It was as though the primordial dragon world had appeared in the world. Even the space-time domain of the sages of the Middle Ages could not shake the power of the primordial dragon world. The second ability was to summon an army of primordial skydragons. Each of the 3,000 primordial skydragon talismans could transform into a terrifying existence like a primordial skydragon. Back at its peak, it could summon an army of 3,000 primordial skydragons. Each primordial skydragon represented the pinnacle of the nomological powers of the universe. Each of them had the power to destroy a world. The simultaneous appearance of 3,000 primordial skydragons could destroy everything and wipe out a race. However, to conjure such power, the primordial skydragon talisman needed to devour the origins of a world. Previously, Titania had gone overboard by destroying many worlds and devouring their origins. She had shaken the foundations of the universe's origins and committed a grave mistake. That was why she became the public enemy of the universe and was attacked by many invincible sages. That is to say, to recover from your injuries, you need to head to the dragon realm and devour its origins. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. That's right, Master. That's exactly what I meant. The primordial skydragon phantom nodded. The problem is that I don't know where the dragon realm is? Xia Ping said. In fact, he wasn't the only one who didn't know. Even the humans, demons, and other races didn't know where the dragon realm was. It was said that the dragon realm was a moving world. The location it appeared in every time was uncertain and random. Even if invincible sages expended effort to infer where the dragon realm would appear, it would change again the next time. Therefore, over time, sages stopped doing such an arduous and unrewarding task. After all, there were just too many experts in the dragon realm. There was no need, nor were sages willing to offend the dragons. It's all right. I can sense where the dragon realm will appear. The primordial skydragon phantom said in a deep voice. In fact, this is a power that every dragon possesses. It can sense where the dragon realm will appear at any time. Furthermore, with the primordial skydragon talisman's power, one can enter the dragon realm silently without being discovered by the powerful old antiques in the depths of the dragon realm. Interesting. If that's the case, I can go take a look. Upon hearing that, Xia Ping could not help but stroke his chin, feeling intrigue. That was because the dragon realm was just too mysterious. It could be said to be one of the most mysterious worlds in the entire universe. Even the patriarchs of the human race didn't know much about it. Every item that came out of the dragon realm was priceless, attracting the pursuit of countless sages. In fact, if not for the invasion of the abyssal fiendish demons in the primordial era, forcing the dragon race to join forces with the other races, the dragon race would still be a mystery to this day. None of the information would have been leaked. If he had a chance to enter the dragon realm to take a look, he naturally wouldn't miss the opportunity. He might even be able to find large amounts of treasures and benefits in the Dragon Realm. Chapter 2400. Thunder Continent, Thunder City. Xia Ping had just finished his seclusion and returned to Thunder City. He planned to rest for a few days before heading to the Dragon Realm. After all, he was quite interested in the mysterious Dragon Realm. However, he had just defeated the monster race. As the number one hero of the war, he probably had to report to Purple Thunder Sage and the others before he could leave. At this time, Thunder City was in a celebratory mood. There were lanterns and streamers everywhere. This was because the human race had won the war. Not only did they not suffer many losses, but they also plundered a large number of treasures from Heimu City. Everyone had made a fortune. There might not be such an opportunity in billions of years. This was no less than a fortuitous encounter. Beep beep. At this time, Xia Ping's communication device rang. It's a message from Purple Thunder Sage. Corinne reminded him. Answer it. Xia Ping nodded. With a beep, Purple Thunder Sage's voice was immediately transmitted. Fengdu Sage, where are you now? I just returned to Thunder City. What's the matter? Xia Ping asked. No. After the war ended, we didn't find any trace of you. We thought something happened to you. But since you're fine, that's for the best. By the way, we will have a celebration banquet later. As the number one hero of the war, I wonder if you're interested in coming. Many sages want to meet you. In fact, if Xia Ping had not provided them with information about Heimu City, they would never have discovered the monster race's plot and won the war. Therefore, it was not too much to say that Xia Ping was the biggest hero. There's no need for that. I'm not in the mood to attend the banquet. Xia Ping was not interested in such a social occasion. If that's the case, then forget it. The Purple Thunder Sage did not insist and said, however, you have to be more careful in the near future. Perhaps the news of you leaking information about the demonic race has already been found out by the demonic race. Right now, that group of demonic beast sages are probably treating you as a thorn in their side, and they can't wait to get rid of you. Stay in Thunder City and don't go out easily. Otherwise, you might be ambushed by the monster race. After all, they really want to know how their information was leaked. He reminded Xia Ping to be careful. After all, Heimu City had suffered heavy losses this time. Not only had a bunch of immortal demon sages and near primordial demon sages died, but even a primordial demon sage had perished. This was a severe loss. After those demon sages found out about Xia Ping, they would probably want to skin him alive and pull out his tendons. Even though they had kept a tight lid on this information, the demon race's methods were unfathomable. Moreover, there were many mouths, so the demon race was able to find out that Xia Ping had leaked information about Heimu City. However, staying in Thunder City was still a guarantee of safety. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye out. Hearing these words, Xia Ping nodded. He didn't think much of it. Now that he had more debts than he could bear, and he had already refined 2 clones and a universe treasure like the Death Substitute Talisman, his ability to protect himself had greatly increased. Even if the other party sent an ancient demon saint to kill him, he could easily escape. The most important thing was that he had reached the mid-near ancient stage, and his strength had increased greatly. He was much more powerful than before. It was simply a fool's dream for an ordinary demon saint to assassinate him. After saying this, the Purple Thunder Sage hung up the phone. Since he had reminded Xia Ping to be careful, he had done his part. There was no need for him to continue speaking. Whoosh! Xia Ping's figure flashed, and he immediately returned to the front of his villa. Brother Fengdu. At this moment, a 5-meter-tall giant with horns on his head suddenly appeared in front of the villa. He walked over with big strides. Who are you? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows and looked at this giant. The other party was actually a sage who had reached the peak of the near-ancient stage. However, he wasn't from the human race, but a vassal race of the human race, the sage of the Longhorn race. Haha, I'm the Golden Horn Sage, but I'm just a nobody. How can I compare to a famous genius like Brother Fengdu? The Golden Horn Sage laughed. It's said that Brother Fengdu could kill near ancient stage as an immortal the moment you appeared in the stormy sea region. Your battle prowess is world-shaking and rarely seen. Now you've made a huge contribution and obtained top-secret information about the demon race through a mysterious method. You're the biggest contributor in dealing with Heimu City this time. Your future can be said to be boundless. Interesting. You've investigated my information? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and looked at the Golden Horn Sage. Don't be nervous, Brother Fengdu. Collecting information is just a small hobby of mine. Moreover, information about an unparalleled genius like Brother Fengdu is everywhere. How can I hide it? However, it's a pity that you're going to die today. As soon as he finished speaking, a horrifying killing intent exploded from the Golden Horn Sage's body. Swoosh, 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 in the blink of an eye, 3 figures flew out from the Golden Horn Sage's body. Each of them emitted a towering aura. Demonic aura soared into the sky and shook the void, covering a radius of tens of millions of kilometers. These figures were demon sages who had reached the Middle Ancient stage. Among them, 2 were at the early Middle Ancient stage, and 1 was at the intermediate Middle Ancient stage. All of them had mastered the law of time and comprehended the space-time territory. What? Xia Ping's pupils contracted. He didn't sense the aura of the 3 Middle Ancient demon sages at all. Although he could sense the Golden Horn Sage's evil intentions, he didn't notice that the 3 Middle Ancient demon sages were hiding among them. Obviously, the 3 Middle Ancient demon sages were hiding in one of the space treasures on the Golden Horn Sage's body. They were waiting for the critical moment to attack. That was why they could hide from his divine consciousness. However, how did the 3 Middle Ancient demon sages hide from the Thunder City's scanning system? How did they sneak into the Thunder City and arrive at his place? Obviously, now was not the time to think about this. He had to face the attack of the 3 Middle Ancient demon sages. Fengdu, go to hell. He, a genius that only appears once in billions of eras is going to die in our hands today. I'm so excited. Killing an immortal sage. Such a battle record is indeed rare. You might become another Dark North sage in the future. It's a pity that you're too arrogant. How dare you help the humans to destroy our Heimu city and cause great losses to the demon sages? This is a crime punishable by death. We definitely won't forgive you. Fengdu, today is the day you die. Your journey will end today. Rest in peace and go on your way. The 3 Middle Ancient demon sages attacked at the same time. Their demonic chi soared into the sky. The 3 space-time territories on their bodies shrouded down at the same time. In an instant, the space-time within a radius of tens of millions of kilometers froze. It was as if everything had come to a standstill. Everything in the space-time territory was unable to move. They looked at Xiaoping as if they were looking at a dead man. The power of the territory that could freeze space-time was not something a puny immortal sage could resist. Killing immortals in the Middle Ancient stage was as easy as killing a chicken. Chapter 2401. Thunder City City Lord Mansion. City Lord Purple Thunder Sage, Deputy City Lord Rain Sage, and other important figures appeared here. At this moment, the City Lord Mansion was hosting a banquet. The hall was filled with a dazzling array of food. Many beautiful maids shuttled through the hall, continuously serving food. How is it? Did you inform Fengdu? Is he not willing to come? A sage asked. No way, I informed him just now, but he doesn't seem to like to appear in such places, so he rejected me. City Lord Purple Thunder Sage shrugged helplessly. Brother Purple Thunder, could it be that he doesn't even give you face? A sage teased. No, please don't say that. I'm not some important figure, so why would I care about face? Some people just don't like to socialize and are eccentric. This isn't about face or not. Purple Thunder Sage waved his hands. Haha, Brother Purple Thunder is truly magnanimous. No wonder the upper echelons value you so much, becoming the Thunder City Lord. However, it's a pity that Fengdu didn't come. I originally wanted to ask him where he got his information from. Will he answer just because I asked? This is his secret channel. How can it be so easy to ask? This is information that even our human race's intelligence system can't find. If he doesn't answer, then so be it. It's just that he is so well informed. Who knows, we might have a chance to work together in the future. He might know some information about secret treasures. One more friend is one more path. That's true. However, if he doesn't come, there's nothing we can do. Perhaps we have to find another way to befriend him. Many sages discussed. They were also very interested in this number 1 hero of the war and wanted to befriend him. However, since he refused to come, there was nothing they could do. Rumble, however, at the moment when the 3 demon sages of the Middle Ages chose to attack Xiaoping, a terrifying space-time force immediately erupted in a corner of the Thunder City. It distorted the space-time and caused the entire Thunder City to shake violently. It seemed that even the restrictive formation here was trembling. The energy waves from the ancient demonic sages couldn't be hidden at all. In an instant, all the sages at the banquet felt this intense energy wave. Damn it! 3 ancient demonic sages have infiltrated our Thunder City. The City Lord, Purple Thunder Saint, had an extremely unsightly expression on his face. The demonic saint had brazenly invaded the Thunder City and even caused such a terrifying battle. This was the first time since the establishment of the Thunder City. This was simply a slap to his face. If demon saints could invade Thunder City at will, then how could Thunder City be safe? This would make him the laughingstock of many city lords. If it was serious, they might even be punished by the higher-ups. What's going on? Were the 3 primordial demon sages crazy? They actually have the guts to invade Thunder City. Are they not afraid of death? Some of the saints from the Middle Ages were shocked. In fact, the universe was boundlessly vast and contained endless method. If one paid a certain price, then sneaking into Thunder City wasn't something impossible. The problem was that if they were to make a move in the territory of the human race, then it would be a completely different matter, and it would be impossible to conceal it. Unless these demon saints didn't want to leave Thunder City alive, otherwise, how would they dare to commit suicide? Oh no, the direction of the space-time fluctuation seems to be the residence of Sage Fengdu. They have made a move on Sage Fengdu. Rain Listener Saint's expression changed as he immediately sensed something. Damn it. How dare they attack and assassinate the sages of the human clan in the territory of the human clan? They're courting death. Activate the restrictive formation of the Thunder City immediately and kill all 3 of these ancient demon sages. Purple Thunder Saint flew into a rage. If the 3 primordial demon sages had merely invaded Thunder City, then it would be fine. However, they actually came to Thunder City to assassinate a human race sage. Furthermore, the sage was the greatest contributor of this war. If they succeeded, it would be a slap to the face of the human race. They would become the laughingstock of the human race and even cast a shadow over their glorious victory. Because if they couldn't even protect the lives of the greatest contributor of this war, who would still believe in the strength of the human race? Quick, inform the old ancestor. The Rain Listener Saint frantically sent emails to the human race patriarch because he was worried that the demon race patriarch might be behind the assassination. Perhaps the demon race patriarch would personally rescue the 3 ancient demon sages. He had to think of all ways to stop these 3 primordial demon sages. Even if the assassination was successful, he definitely couldn't let these 3 murderers leave Thunder City alive. The other sages also sent emails frantically. Fengdu, please don't die. Purple Thunder Saint's expression turned ugly as he desperately flew far away. However, he felt that the chances of Sage Fengdu surviving were too slim. After all, the three primordial demon sages had chosen this moment to attack and catch them off guard. Their goal was to kill Sage Fengdu instantly. How could they give Sage Fengdu a chance to live? Even if they wanted to activate the Thunder City's restrictive formation, it would require a certain amount of time. It couldn't be activated on a whim. During the time it took for the Thunder City's restrictive formation to be activated, it was enough for the primordial demon sages to attack dozens of times. He didn't think that a mere undying sage could survive against a primordial demon sage who had comprehended the spacetime domain. Even so, he did his best and left it up to fate. He rushed over as fast as he could, hoping to save Sage Fengdu and not let this human genius die. At this moment, on the other side, 3 primordial demon sages and 1 near primordial demon sage charged towards Xiaoping at the same time. They covered the sky and filled the air with killing intent. Spacetime imprisonment. 3 primordial demon sages and 1 near primordial demon sage came to assassinate me. The demon race sure is generous. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a cold gleam. Not only was he not afraid, but he was also extremely excited. Previously, when the human race and demon race were at war, he didn't activate the Universe Virtual Network's recording function to prevent his information from being leaked. That way, no matter how many primordial demon sages he killed, he wouldn't be able to obtain any points. Otherwise, after killing so many primordial demon sages in the Demon Saint Hall, his points would have skyrocketed. Unfortunately, in order to keep it a secret, he could only reluctantly give up his point. But now, there were 3 primordial demon sages and 1 near primordial demon sage coming for him. This was a great opportunity. If he could kill all of them, his points would skyrocket immediately. One must know that killing an early primordial demon sage was worth 1 billion points. Killing a middle primordial demon sage was worth 3 billion points. Even a near primordial demon sage was worth 500 million points. They added up to 5.5 billion points. Therefore, in Xiaoping's eyes, they weren't assassins, but a huge mobile treasure vault. If he could kill all of them, he would immediately become rich. Chapter 2402. Kiki, Human Fengdu, I bet you didn't expect that you would be assassinated by us in the human territory. Let me tell you honestly, you will die even if you hide in the human territory after being targeted by us. One of the ancient demonic overlord laughed and looked down at Xiaoping. He was confident of his victory. With the 3 spacetime domains enveloping him, not to mention a mere undying sage, even a medieval sage wouldn't be able to move. Within the spacetime domain, not only was the space frozen, even time had stopped. This kid was like a turtle in a jar. He couldn't move at all and was instantly trapped. A puny undying sage like you should be proud to die in the hands of us 3 ancient demonic overlords. Don't even think about getting help. We understand the entire Thunder City's restriction array very well. To fully activate it, we will need at least 3 minutes. During this time, we can kill you tens of times. Another ancient demonic overlord seemed to have Xiaoping in his grasp. Perhaps you want to seek help from Purple Thunder Sage and the rest. Unfortunately, we have already thought of this. They are currently celebrating in the City Lord Mansion. Even if they want to rush here, they will need some time. You won't be able to wait for help. In order to assassinate Xiaoping, they had already thought of a complete plan without any loopholes. Stop talking nonsense with this kid. Hurry up and kill him. The remaining ancient demonic overlord revealed a cold gleam in its eyes. Its killing intent was extremely heavy. It had no intention of talking nonsense with Xiaoping. It only wanted to kill this human sage instantly and complete its mission before escaping. After all, this was the human territory. Who knew what might happen? It was better to complete its mission first. That's simple. I just need to move slightly and he will be crushed into pieces by my spacetime domain. A puny undying sage actually dares to interfere in the war between the 2 races. He simply doesn't know his place. This time, I want to kill the chicken to scare the monkey. I want to show you foolish humans the consequences of trying to resist us." One of the ancient demonic overlords sneered. With a thought, it controlled the spacetime domain. The entire void seemed to collapse, shattering the vacuum. A terrifying power pressed towards Xiaoping's body. In the face of such power, even a planet would be crushed into powder. Even an undying sage's undying cells would turn into ashes under the pressure of the spacetime domain. Dong. However, at that moment, when the power of the spacetime domain bombarded Xiaoping's body, his expression changed drastically. He suddenly realized that his spacetime domain was unable to crush the human race saint in front of him. It felt that its spacetime domain was pressing down on an indestructible rock. No, it should be crushing a large world with a spatial barrier. How is this possible? It can't be compressed or crushed. What's going on? The demon sage of the Middle Ages was shocked. He simply couldn't believe his eyes. Damn it, this is the domain of space. Our intel was wrong. This Feng Du isn't an immortal saint. He's already reached the near-ancient realm and comprehended the space laws. Furthermore, he's not just at the early near-ancient realm, he's already at the mid-near-ancient realm. Bastard! Which intelligence officer collected this information? When did this bastard reach the near-ancient realm? Did the intelligence officer grow up eating sh*t? You can't even tell the difference between immortal and ancient. The few demon saints cursed loudly. They were simply furious. They immediately had a bad feeling. Their target was not an undying saint, but a near-ancient saint who comprehended the law of space. One should know that the difference between the two was at least 10 times. At this moment, they simply wanted to tear that intelligence officer's soul to shreds. Mistaking the target's strength was a fatal mistake. It would cast a huge shadow on their assassination. Forget it. So what if he's a near-ancient saint? Even a near-ancient saint has to die against us 3 demon sages. A demon sage of the Middle Ages roared angrily. It was completely furious. No matter what, they had to kill the culprit of the human race today. However, at this moment, Xiaoping took a step forward. The space domain that had a diameter of 700 light-years suddenly burst out. It simply swept through the 9 heavens and 10 earth. It was like a projection of a world bombarding down. Bang! With just one strike, the 3 space-time domains that covered a radius of tens of millions of kilometers were torn apart like paper by this tyrannical power. A terrifying energy storm immediately set off in the surroundings. A huge mushroom cloud floated up as if it was shaking the entire Thunder City. It was as if an earthquake of magnitude 18 had occurred. All the humans in the Thunder City could feel the vibration that shook the void. Even the Purple Thunder Saint and the Rain Listener Saint who were rushing over were stunned, not knowing what had happened. Impossible. This is the space-time domain that our demon sage of the Middle Ages unleashed. It can confine time and space. Even if you've advanced to the near-ancient realm, how can you shake our space-time domain? The eyes of the 3 demon sages and the near-ancient saint almost popped out. They simply could not believe that a mere near-ancient saint could use his own spacetime domain to tear apart their spacetime domain. Such a thing was simply unheard of. It was like a rabbit suddenly going crazy and killing a lion with one kick. Their spacetime domain was instantly shattered. This caused the 3 demon sages to suffer a certain degree of injury. They almost vomited a mouthful of blood. However, they still endured it. They could not embarrass themselves in front of this human saint. Otherwise, if word got out that the 3 great demon sages of the Middle Ages had been shaken to the point of vomiting blood by a near-ancient sage, they would become enemies and become the laughing-stock of countless sages. **T. Xiaoping took another step forward. The void trembled and stars fell. His eyes were like torches. What's impossible about it? It only proves that your space-time domain is too weak. Even my space-time domain can't confine it. You want to assassinate me, Fengdu, with just this bit of strength? You must be joking. Could it be that there are no more experts in the demon race, and they could only send trash like you? Swoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, he threw a punch. He operated the power of the space-time domain. It was as if it was so close yet so far away. It contained unparalleled power of space and destructive power. No! The Golden Horned Saint screamed. He sensed that the power of the punch had completely locked onto his soul. He wanted to dodge, but he realized it was too late. Because in just a second, Xia Ping teleported in front of him and punched through his chest. Boom! In an instant, the body of the Golden Horned Saint shattered. Even his soul couldn't withstand the power and was completely destroyed. Chapter 2403. What kind of joke is this? One of the ancient demon sages found it hard to believe. This sage Fengdu was simply too terrifying. In front of the three ancient demon sages, he was unscrupulous and domineering, killing a near-ancient demon sage with a single punch. One had to know that this was a near-ancient demon sage who had comprehended spatial laws. He should be an expert of the same level as this kid. Even under normal circumstances, they would need to fight for 300 rounds before a victor could be decided. How could it be like now, where the Golden Horn Sage was killed with a single punch? Damn you, Fengdu, you're courting death. How dare you kill another demon sage in front of us? I definitely won't let you off. Just wait for your death. The other two ancient demon sages were both shocked and furious. They flew into a rage. This sage Fengdu was simply too arrogant. He actually dared to kill their helper in front of them. This was not as simple as being slapped in the face. This was simply a humiliation to their dignity as ancient demon sages. It was as if he was saying that even if ancient demon sages were here, as long as Fengdu wanted to kill someone, no one would be able to live. Won't let me off? Do you think I'll let you off? All of you can stay here today. Xia Ping circulated the powerful magic power in his body, and a spatial domain that reached 700 light-years instantly enveloped the three ancient demon sages, completely wrapping them up and controlling them. What? How dare you try to use a spatial domain to restrain us? Who gave you such courage? The three ancient demon sages were furious. A puny near-ancient demon sage dared to use a spatial domain to restrain them? This was simply showing off in front of Confucius. How much did this guy look down on them? However, in the next second they were astonished. This was because this sage Fengdu's spatial domain was too terrifying. It was almost corporeal, as if it had formed the embryonic form of a world. The instant this spatial domain came crashing down, it seemed to lock down everything in this space. Even the laws of time seemed to be forcefully isolated from this domain. They felt that their spatial domain was completely suppressed. This was purely crushing them in terms of absolute power. Sometimes, a space-time domain wasn't everything. If the space was strong enough, it could even affect the laws of time. It was just like how 50 kilograms of strength couldn't move a super train. Now they had the same feeling. Their space-time domains were clearly of a higher level, but they were helpless against this unimaginably large space domain. This was simply using one's power to suppress others. This won't do. The space-time domain doesn't have any effect on this fellow. Use soul attacks and kill this kid at the soul level. A primordial demon sage shouted. Although there were very few demon saints who were good at using soul secret techniques, they were naturally proficient in soul attack secret techniques since they had been dispatched as assassins. Many of the assassination targets had extremely strong defenses and immortal bodies, but they couldn't resist attacks on the soul level. This was the greatest weakness of the sages. Rumble in the blink of an eye, the three primordial demon sages attacked at the same time. Powerful soul waves immediately erupted from their bodies, forming a soul storm. Even a middle-aged saint of the same level would be instantly killed in this place, turning into an idiot. There was even less of a need to talk about ordinary near-ancient saints and undying saint. They would be killed in an instant, unable to resist at all. Soul attack? Xia Ping squinted his eyes. He immediately sensed the terrifying soul attack waves from the 3 primordial demon sages. It was filled with destructive aura and terrifying energy. The soul wave seeped into his space domain because it was a higher-level attack that directly targeted the soul. Even the space-time domain couldn't completely resist it. Dong. In an instant, the powerful soul wave immediately bombarded the depths of Xia Ping's sea of consciousness. It attacked his soul body and produced extremely terrifying destructive waves. However, at this moment, a huge bell appeared from the depths of his soul. It was his natal magic treasure, the Chaos Bell. It immediately enveloped his entire soul and blocked the soul attack wave. The Chaos Bell buzzed and emitted chaotic air currents, easily stopping the soul attack of the 3 primordial demon sages. All the soul waves were turned into nothingness. In fact, the Chaos Bell was only the first layer of defense for his soul. The second layer of defense was the ultimate treasure, the World Tree. Even if a primordial sage came and used a soul attack, he probably wouldn't be able to break through the defense of the World Tree. If the primordial sages knew about this, they would probably go even more crazy. Of course, if they really knew, they probably wouldn't have the guts to come to Thunder City to assassinate him. What kind of joke is this? He actually has a soul defense magic treasure. Isn't he too rich? Damn it. The space-time domain can't restrain him, and the soul attack doesn't work. How are we going to kill him? Damn it. Why did we encounter such a monster? We 3 primordial demon sages couldn't even kill him together. The eyes of the 3 primordial demon sages turned green, and they were extremely jealous. It should be known that soul defense magic treasures were extremely rare in the universe. Even the primordial sages might not have one, let alone the primordial sages who didn't have one. However, this kid actually had a soul defense magic treasure. The value of this magic treasure alone surpassed many sage artifacts. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that it was priceless. They were going crazy with jealousy. This primordial sage of the human race was too rich. He even had a soul defense magic treasure. Where did he get it from? You have a lot of tricks up your sleeves. However, if you want to kill me with soul attacks, you are really delusional. Xia Ping's eyes were cold and murderous. Damn it. I can't continue like this. 3 minutes are almost up. The Thunder City's restriction array is about to be activated. Purple Thunder Sage, Rain Listener Sage, and that bunch of scoundrels will probably arrive soon. Admit it. We failed our mission this time. We couldn't kill this Fengdu Sage. Instead, we lost an important spy. Damn it. Damn human. I'll let him live a little longer this time. Don't let me find another opportunity. Otherwise, I'll definitely kill him. The 3 primordial demon sages gritted their teeth. However, they were also decisive people. They immediately fled when they saw that the situation wasn't good. In fact, this was also a characteristic of killers. If they missed their target, they would flee far away. Even if they wanted to personally kill this bastard, according to the current situation, it was already impossible to kill this Fengdu sage. If they didn't escape from this place now, they would definitely die. No one could save them. Chapter 2404. Trying to escape? Do you think you can escape? Xia Ping immediately sensed the thoughts of the 3 primordial demon sages. He immediately activated his space domain and sealed the void in all directions, suppressing the 8 desolate. This way, they would not be able to escape from his space domain. ****, you actually want to keep us here? Who do you think we, the demon sages, are? Do you think a small sage like you can stop us? This is a place where we can come and go as we please. The 3 demon sages had ferocious looks on their faces. They naturally sensed Xia Ping's space domain, but they were not afraid at all. Instead, they seemed to have expected it. With a swoosh, a transparent flower suddenly appeared in one of the demon sage's hands. It was the size of a palm, and the petals seemed to be flowing with dense nomological patterns, emitting an unfathomable aura. Be careful, this is the famous illusory sound flower of the universe. At this moment, the green ox's voice was heard. This illusory sound flower is a universe wonder, and it can only be used once. It is priceless, but once it is shattered, it will immediately turn the void within a radius of billions of miles into a real illusion. All living beings will fall into the illusion and will not be able to escape for a while. At the same time, this illusion seems to have reached the realm of turning nothing into reality. It can distort space-time, and even an invincible sage will not be able to escape for a while. What? Xiaoping's eyes narrowed when he heard this. He did not expect the three demon sages to have such a universe wonder. If he did not know, he would probably fall into the trap instantly. It was probably because they had such a backup plan that the three ancient demon saints had the guts to invade Thunder City. After all, with the illusory sound flower, they could easily escape even if they killed him. Although the illusory sound flower was extremely precious and could be said to be priceless, it was worth it as long as they could kill a human genius like him. Unfortunately, they had underestimated their own strength, which led to the failure of this mission. It was like drawing water with a wicker basket. Even so, they did not want to die in this place. As soon as he finished speaking, the demon sages immediately crushed the illusory sound flower. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the palm-sized transparent flower immediately shattered. With the body of the primordial demon sage as the center, the area within a radius of several hundred light-years fell into a mysterious illusion. Bursts of unique and mysterious sound waves were transmitted to the ears of every human in Thunder City. Be it the saints from the Middle Ages like the Purple Thunder Saint and the Rain Listener Saint, or the mortals in the Thunder Retribution realm, all of them fell into an illusion. They were in a trance and could not move. Moreover, it was not as simple as falling into an illusion. The area within a radius of several hundred light-years had been enveloped by a real illusion, and all the laws of space and time had changed. It was as though at this moment, this region had fallen into a state between reality and illusion, jumping out of the three realms. Even the universe virtual network had temporarily lost control of this region. It was as though this wave of energy could even cut off the universe virtual network's signal transmissions, turning Thunder City into an isolated island. Billions of mysterious nomological notes came from the void and reached the depths of Xiaoping's sea of consciousness. It was as if they wanted to pull him into an illusory world and make him lose himself. Nonetheless, at that instant, the world tree in the depths of his sea of consciousness burst out. Layers of green barriers appeared and isolated the illusory art's power, allowing him to remain clear-headed and not fall into the illusion. In the distance, the three Middle Ages demon sages seemed to be enveloped by a mysterious power. They formed a light sphere and turned into an independent space, unaffected by the illusory sound flower's power. Damn it, I didn't expect that not only would we not be able to kill Fengdu, we would also lose an important spy and a precious illusory sound flower. This is a precious life-saving treasure that can't be bought with money. One of the Middle Ages demon sages gritted his teeth. He was in great pain as though his flesh was being cut off. This illusory sound flower was given to them by the demon ancestor. Initially, they thought that this operation would be very successful. Perhaps they would not even need to use the illusory sound flower when escaping. They did not expect that not only did they use the illusory sound flower, but they also failed to kill their target. It could be said that this operation was a complete failure. What should we do? I reckon that Fengdu has fallen into an illusion and is unable to retaliate. Perhaps we can take the opportunity to kill him and escape. Another primordial demon saint suggested. No. Although the illusory sound flower's power is strange and powerful, and even ancient sages might not be able to resist it, its illusion power is extremely weak. If we act rashly, we will immediately break the illusion. In that case, we might not be able to kill Fengdu, and we will have to stay here forever. The remaining Middle Ages demon sage shook its head and rejected the suggestion. If using the illusory sound flower could kill that detestable Fengdu, it would have done so long ago. Although this one-time use illusory sound flower was extremely powerful and represented extreme illusory power and laws, it also had a fatal weakness. It could not last for long and could not be disturbed by external forces. This was considered a useless auxiliary treasure that could only be used when escaping. Even so, it made countless sages salivate. After all, at a critical moment, this item could save their lives. There was nothing more important than their lives. All right, then let's hurry and run. Although the three primordial demon sages were unwilling to accept that they could not kill the Fengdu sage, their lives were more important now that things had come to this. If the demon race lost another 3 primordial demon sages, their losses would be unimaginable. Don't run. Stay here. However, before they could move, Xia Ping's figure appeared in front of them in an instant. At the same time, a terrifying space domain enveloped them and permeated the void in all directions. It was as though all space had frozen at this moment. They immediately felt like their bodies had fallen into a swamp and could not move at all. Impossible. Why didn't you fall into an illusion? Could it be that the illusory sound flower has no effect on you? The 3 primordial demon sages were completely dumbfounded. This was because the illusory sound flower was a universe wonder. Even ancient sages would be affected, so how could a near-ancient sage break free from the power of the illusory sound flower? If they hadn't confirmed it over and over again, they would have thought that they'd been affected by the illusory sound flower and fallen into an illusion. This was truly too inconceivable, and it was simply even more shocking than when they saw Xia Ping blast a demon saint to death with a single punch. Chapter 2405. However, Xia Ping had no intention of explaining himself to the 3 primordial demon sages. He took out his hell treasure, the reincarnation brush. He infused all his power into it, completely activating the reincarnation brush's supreme power. Rumble! In an instant, 3 dark golden lights shot out from the depths of the reincarnation brush. They seemed to be formed from countless hell scriptures, containing the auras of massacre, destruction, hell, eternity, chaos, etc. This power locked onto the souls of the 3 demon sages. This was a skill that targeted the soul. With the illusion sound flower's concealment, even the universe virtual network couldn't detect his abnormality. Therefore, he could use all his trump cards without holding back. Damn, it's over. What kind of power is this? Time domain, time barrier, I'm invincible, heaven and earth reversal. The 3 primordial demon sages roared in anger. They sensed a fatal crisis. It was as if they had been targeted by a primordial god of the underworld. This destructive wave that targeted at the soul simply made their hair stand on end, and they were terrified. All of them operated the space-time domain in their bodies. In an instant, layers of space-time barriers appeared around their bodies. There were at least 18,000 layers of them. Even if a demon sage of the same level wanted to break through these time barrier, it would require tremendous effort. They were also very confident in their own defensive capabilities. Xiao. It was a pity that the 3 dark golden lights were the reincarnation power of the reincarnation brush. They also contained the power of cause and effect and soul power. They were beyond the time barrier. This was not something that the time barrier could block. In an instant, the 3 beams of dark golden light pierced through the space-time barrier on their bodies and reached the depths of their souls, penetrating them in an instant. Impossible, this is impossible. I'm a demon sage. How can I be killed by a near-ancient sage? Block it for me. A mere near-ancient sage can't kill me. This is impossible. The 3 demon sages screamed and struggled with all their might. They were extremely terrified. It was a pity that no matter how strong they were, whether they were in the early or middle stages, they still couldn't block the reincarnation power of the reincarnation brush. With a boom, the souls of the 3 ancient demon sages were torn apart by the reincarnation brush. Their bodies and souls were torn to shreds just like that. They couldn't help but let out shrill screams, but they quickly stopped. Then, in a loud thud, their massive carcasses collapsed to the ground, stirring up a cloud of dust. Blood dripped down from his forehead, almost covering the ground. The air was filled with a strong smell of blood. As expected of the reincarnation brush, one of the strongest weapons of slaughter in the world. It is invincible and nothing can stop the reincarnation brush. Once again, Xiaoping recognized the power of the reincarnation brush. Such a sharp force could simply reverse the universe, reverse yin and yang, and destroy time and space. Even the barrier of time and space created by the demon saint of the Middle Ages could not withstand it. Rumble, at that moment, due to the intense fluctuations of battle occurring in this place, it also affected the environment of the entire Thunder City, causing the power of the illusory sound flower to rapidly weaken before disappearing. All the Thunder City sages who were trapped in the illusion also struggled out of it. Their eyes were clear and they seemed to have regained their consciousness. What happened? Just now I felt like I appeared in another world. It was incomparably real. Illusion. Just now we were trapped in an incomparably real illusion. What kind of joke is this? What kind of power could make us instantly fall into an illusion? This affected the entire Thunder City. Could it be that the Patriarch made a move? No. It wasn't the Patriarch. If it really was him, we wouldn't have the power to break free from the illusion. If I'm not wrong, this should be the power of the illusory sound flower. What? It's the power of the illusory sound flower. No wonder it's so terrifying. Many sages finally regained their consciousness. They were also amazed. They didn't expect the legendary illusory sound flower to be so terrifying. It instantly caused all the sages in the Thunder City to fall into an illusion. No one could break free. Oh no, Sage Fengdu. Sage Fengdu couldn't have been killed by the 3 ancient demon sages, right? At this moment, the Purple Thunder Sage, the Rain Listener Sage, and the others' expressions changed drastically. They couldn't care less about what was happening and immediately flew towards the location of the incident. However, when they arrived, they were dumbfounded. This was because they found Xiaoping standing at the same spot unscathed. However, there were 4 huge corpses on the ground. Judging from the powerful aura and the power of laws emanating from these corpses, they were the 3 ancient demon sages and a near-ancient pinnacle sage. 3 ancient demon sages and a near-ancient sage joined forces to kill an immortal sage. The immortal sage didn't die, but these ancient demon sages died instead? Could it be that this was still an illusion? Sage Fengdu, may I ask who these are? The Purple Thunder Sage stepped forward and asked. These 3 are ancient demon sages. This one seems to be the Golden Horn Sage from the Long Horn race. They tried to join forces to kill me, but I killed them instead. This is nothing. It's just a very ordinary thing. Xiaoping explained the situation in a simple manner. Ordinary? Ordinary my *SS. How does this look ordinary? The group of sages were so depressed that they wanted to vomit blood. Looking at how calm Sage Fengdu was, others who didn't know better would think that he was just killing a few ants. However, these were not ants. They were ancient demon sages who could be mentioned in the same breath as them. They were terrifying existences who had comprehended the space-time domain. These existences could suppress a region anywhere they were placed. They were definitely pillars of support. If they had died, it would have shaken the entire race and enraged their ancestors. However, they had died now. None of them had managed to escape and had died quietly in this place. Brother Fengdu, you've advanced to the near-ancient stage and comprehended the spatial laws? At this moment, the Rain Listener Sage sensed the faint aura of the space domain emanating from Xiaoping's body. It was emitting a terrifying pressure that made him feel like an ancient god. Even though he was a sage from the ancient demon sages, He actually felt inferior when facing Sage Fengdu. It was as if he was a lowly creature. The other sages were also shocked. The information they had received previously said that Sage Fengdu was only an immortal sage. However, he had advanced to the near ancient stage now. It was really unbelievable. That's right. I've advanced to the middle stage of the near ancient stage long ago and comprehended the spatial laws. That's why I could kill these 3 ancient demon sages. Since his strength had been seen through, Xia Ping didn't plan to continue hiding it. Chapter 2406. So that's how it is. He advanced to the near ancient realm and comprehended the law of space. That's why he was able to kill the middle ancient sages so easily. No wonder he's so strong. Bulsh *T. Do you think we would think that? The Purple Thunder Sage and the others gritted their teeth and their mouths twitched. Even if this kid wasn't an immortal sage but a near ancient sage, it was still unbelievable. Everyone in the world knew how terrifying the middle ancient sages were. They comprehended the law of time and controlled the law of space and time. No matter how strong the near ancient sages were, how could they be stronger than the middle ancient sages? The difference between them was like the difference between a rabbit and a lion. Killing a middle ancient sage as a near ancient sage was even more unbelievable than killing a near ancient sage as an immortal. This was because after the sage realm, the difference between the two would be greater. It would be harder to challenge someone of a higher level. As far as they could remember, there was not a single near ancient realm cultivator who could kill a middle ancient realm cultivator. However, such a thing happened right in front of them. Therefore, the Purple Thunder Sage and the others were speechless and didn't know what to say. After a long time, the Purple Thunder Sage finally said, "Sage Fengdu, I wonder what method you used to kill these ancient demon sages?" His tone was much more respectful than before. No matter what method Fengdu Sage used, the fact that he could kill 3 middle ancient sage beasts meant that he was on equal footing with the Purple Thunder Sage. After all, it was extremely difficult for him to kill 3 middle ancient sage beasts with his current strength. It might even be impossible. I didn't use any methods. I just fought with them for 300 rounds. Then, when I saw their flaws, I destroyed their souls. The process was very simple. There's nothing to write home about. Xia Ping said casually. Keep making up stories. If we believe you, we'll lose. All the sages looked down on this guy who was full of nonsense. However, they also understood that this was his secret. It might be a secret trump card or a way to save his life at a critical moment. How could he be willing to say it? If they were Fengdu Sage, they probably wouldn't say such a thing in front of everyone. If there is nothing else, I will leave. I guess there are no more spies in the entire Thunder City. Xia Ping waved his hand and swept away the 4 demon saint corpses on the ground. After all, these were all top-grade fertilizers. If the world tree absorbed them, it would immediately be able to refine time fruits and space fruit. These were priceless treasures that could not be wasted. When the other sages saw this, they were all salivating. After all, the things on a demon saint were extremely precious. However, this was Saint Fengdu's spoils of war, so they had no right to dispose of it. Boom! At that moment, a voice descended from the void and reached the depths of every sage's consciousness. What's going on? Didn't 3 primordial demon sages sneak into the Thunder City to kill the Fengdu Sage? Where is he? Where did he go? The one who spoke was a human ancestor. It was Ancestor Kong Kong. After the other party received Lei Cheng's distress message, he immediately used his projection to descend, but when his projection arrived, there was no trace of the demon saint. Ancestor, the 3 primordial demon sages and a near-ancient peak demon saint have been killed by the Fengdu Sage. Their corpses are in the hands of the Fengdu Sage. The Purple Thunder Sage immediately replied respectfully. What did you say? Sure enough, when Ancestor Kong Kong heard this, he was dumbfounded. The other sages also secretly smiled. Even the ancestor was shocked by this matter. It seemed that they were not ignorant people. This kind of thing was really rare. What about the Fengdu sage? Ancestor Kong Kong asked. He has already left. He may have suffered serious injuries during the battle with the 3 primordial demon sages, so he went back to rest and heal. Purple Thunder Sage thought for a moment and gave a reason. The sages' mouths twitched. They felt that the kid did not look injured at all. He was very lively, not at all like he had fought with the primordial demon sages. From this, they could see how terrifying the Fengdu sage was. Even though he was only a near ancient sage, he could still kill the primordial demon sages. It was really terrifying. At this moment, in the holy land of Taichu, several human ancestors gathered together. What happened? Didn't they say that a primordial demon assassinated the Fengdu sage? How come he came back so soon? Did something happen to him? Xiaoyao Ancestral Master asked. It's over. Fengdu is fine. Instead, he's very lively. He killed the 3 primordial demon sages and a near-ancient one who tried to assassinate him. Besides, he seems to have ascended to the near-ancient sage realm. Ancestor Kong Kong Kong's mouth twitched. What did you say? Hearing this, the Xiaoyao Ancestral Master couldn't help but be astonished. Each of these pieces of news was earth-shattering. Even though he had lived for countless years, he was still shocked by this news. Killing a primordial demon sages was horrifying. In the long history of the universe and all the races in the universe, there were only a few such monsters. If he didn't die, he would definitely ascend to the invincible realm. Is there any surveillance footage? Do you know how he killed the 3 medieval demon sages? Old Ancestor of Heaven and Earth asked. If he had only killed one demon saint of the Middle Ages, he might have relied on his own strength. However, he had killed 3 at the same time and remained unscathed. No matter how he looked at it, there was something fishy about it. He must have some powerful secret treasure on him to be able to do such a thing. No, during the time when he killed the 3 ancient demon sages, the surrounding universe virtual network was paralyzed by the illusory sound flower. We were unable to monitor the battle process. Ancestor Kong Kong sighed. It's possible that he obtained some powerful magic treasure or some kind of universal secret treasure to be able to do this. But if that's the case, there's no need to worry about his safety. At the very least, the ancient demon sage can't do anything to him. The Xiaoyao Ancestral Master nodded. In fact, all of them would have such a fortuitous encounter. In the universe, there were all kinds of powerful treasures that could allow one to kill someone of a higher level. It was just that these treasures were rare and did not appear often. His true identity hasn't been exposed, right? Old Ancestor of Heaven and Earth asked. No. He wasn't assassinated by the demon clan because of his identity as Xia Ping. Instead, he did all kinds of big things with the identity of Fengdu, which aroused the hatred of the demon clan. However, after this incident, I'm afraid the other races will be more afraid of his identity as Fengdu than Xia Ping. Ancestor Kong Kong was speechless. He had changed his identity so that this kid could keep a low profile and not be targeted by powerful enemies of all the races in the universe. He didn't expect that this kid would still do such earth-shattering things and never stop. In this case, what was the point of changing his identity? However, since he had done such things, he couldn't stop it and could only help to deal with the aftermath. Chapter 2407. At this moment, in the demon race sacred land, many demon race patriarchs also learned that the 3 ancient demon sages they sent had been killed by Xia Ping. Their faces were extremely ugly as they had been slapped in the face by the human race. Trash, those 3 guys are simply trash. I gave them an illusory sound flower so that they could return safely. A demon race patriarch shouted angrily. I didn't expect that not only did the 3 of them fail to complete the assassination mission, but they also left their lives in the human race's base, causing our demon race to lose face. Bastards, how did those pieces of trash ascend to the ancient demon sage stage? They can't even deal with a mere near-ancient demon sage. This is simply a disgrace. It flew into a rage. It felt that the actions of the 3 primordial demon saints had disgraced it. If other patriarchs knew that this matter was set up by him, he would probably become a laughing-stock and be mocked for many years. One could imagine how angry he was now. We can't blame those 3 ancient demon sages. We can only say that Fengdu's strength is extraordinary. Even if he might have some powerful universe secret treasures to assist him, we have to admit that he is very powerful. At least he can survive in front of the ancient demon sage. A demon race patriarch said in a deep voice. He knew that there were naturally some treasures in the universe that could allow the weak to defeat the strong and kill the ancient demon sage. The problem was that if one couldn't even move in front of the ancient demon sage, then what was the point of having more treasures? The ancient demon sage's spacetime domain shrouded over and sealed the spacetime of billions of kilometers. This power of sealing time ensured that one wouldn't even have the chance to use treasures. Did you find out Fengdu's true identity? What is his background? Is he from an ancient family, the descendant of a sage, or did he have some fortuitous encounter? It's impossible for such a monster to appear out of nowhere. We're already investigating, but the human race's intelligence system is very strict. Fengdu's identity is extremely confidential. Only people at the level of the human race patriarchs are qualified to investigate. We still don't know his background for the time being. However, some intelligence personnel guessed that Fengdu might be the peerless monster Xiaoping who caused an uproar previously. What's the possibility of that? At least 70%. Of course, I can't guarantee that everything is correct. It might really be someone else. After all, there are too many monsters in the human race. Wu Wudi, who stole our primordial sky dragon talisman, is an example. Another human bastard. Just how much trouble do these humans want to bring to our demon race? How hateful! The ancestral patriarchs of the monster clans discussed with solemn expressions. Damned humans! How could they have so many geniuses? Moreover, they are emerging one after another. The threat they bring to our human race is getting greater and greater. If it weren't for the abyss demons, a huge threat to all the races in the universe, our demon race would have already started a war with the human race. We definitely wouldn't allow them to grow to this extent. This is really raising a tiger to invite disaster. A monster patriarch gritted his teeth and was filled with killing intent. There's no point in saying so much. The human race's power has already been established. Their tail is too big to be shaken, and they're vaguely showing signs of becoming the leader of all the races in the universe. The leader of all races? Could the human race afford to wear such a crown? Aren't they afraid of being crushed to death? Kiki, it's good to give this title to the human race. Once the abyss demons invade the universe, as the leader, shouldn't he face them head-on? He should be the first to go up and become the main force of the allied army. That's right. Sometimes, a crown isn't a good thing in the face of a disaster. Being the main force will cause us to die the fastest and suffer heavy losses. I reckon that after the battle with the abyss demons, the human race will suffer heavy losses and decline. That will be fun. There are no races in this universe that can last forever. In the past, the dragon race, the phoenix race, the Qilin race, and other races were also peak races that ruled the universe. But now, aren't they hiding and don't dare to fight for supremacy? Then bear with the human race for a period of time. Once the war with the abyss demons ends, the human race will have a good time. The ancestral patriarchs of the monster clans were filled with killing intent. A sinister light flashed in the depths of their eyes, making people shudder. In the abyss world, at this moment, some abyss overlords were gathered together. Many terrifying demons sat on the thrones. They seemed to be the leaders of the abyss world. Their bodies emitted a towering demonic aura, as if they were favored by the abyss. Recently, the human race and the monster clan seemed to be at war. Many sages died on both sides. Some abyss demons were well informed and knew what had happened in Heimu City. Foolish humans and monster clans. They clearly know that the abyss world's invasion is imminent, but they are still fighting among themselves. This is the human nature of the various races. Their hatred for each other might be even deeper than that of us abyss demons. Kiki, isn't this a good thing? The fiercer they fight, the better. It's best if both sides fight to the death and perish together. That will save us a lot of energy. How can there be such a good thing in the world? But to us, the more sages die, the better. But we can't underestimate the potential of these races. In times of war, many geniuses will rise rapidly. Back then, Patriarch Xiaoyao, Patriarch Kong, and the others rose rapidly from war. So, we must be wary of the geniuses of the various races. We can't give them a chance to grow. Don't worry. Learning from the last war, we've already activated the hunting opportunity. We'll specifically hunt down the geniuses of the various races. Anyone with a bit of fame will be on our hunting list. Recently, Wu Wudi of the human race and that Fengdu sage are on our blacklist. Soon, you will hear about the fall of these human geniuses. Many abyss demons discussed and carried out an extremely sinister plan. They used the entire universe as a chessboard and started to move their pieces step by step. Other than the peak races like the human race and monster clan, there are also the dragon race, phoenix race, Qilin race, and other powerful races. Don't underestimate these former overlords of the universe. An abyss demon said in a deep voice, although they are content in a corner now and never show themselves, who knows what they will do at the crucial moment. In the primordial era, it was these races who ambushed us from behind. Otherwise, we wouldn't have suffered such a crushing defeat. I haven't forgotten this hatred for even a second. Don't worry, we've already prepared a gift for those useless races. Soon, they will know how terrifying it is to offend us. This time, we will make them suffer heavy losses and no longer be able to compete with us. The eyes of these abyss overlords revealed a cold glint that made people shudder. Chapter 2408. Thunder City, the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. A few days later, the storm caused by the Demon Clan's assassination in Thunder City slowly subsided, and Xia Ping finally received a huge reward from the All Saints Palace. Even though there was no surveillance video as proof, there were witnesses and material evidence in hand, which was enough to prove that Xia Ping had killed 3 demon sages from the Middle Ages and 1 demon sage at the peak of the Near Ancient Age. This time, he had also obtained a total of 5 billion points. In addition to the 3 billion points from before, he had a total of 8 billion points on him. In addition to obtaining the All Saints Palace points, he had also killed 3 demon sages from the Middle Ages and 1 demon sage at the peak of the Near Ancient Age, which aroused great hatred from the demon clan and also brought him 200 hatred crystals. This was another huge sum of money, making the total number of hatred crystals he had on him reach 1,680. It could be said that he had gained a lot from this assassination. However, although Xia Ping had won a great victory, he suddenly felt that he seemed to lack some effective killing methods, especially if he wanted to kill sage-level experts. Ordinary magical powers were already very difficult to work. Even though he had supreme magic treasures such as the Reincarnation Pen and the Book of Karma, these magic treasures were his trump cards and could not be used easily. It seems that I need to exchange for some powerful secret soul techniques. Xia Ping touched his chin. This time, the Demon Clan's assassination gave him some inspiration. If he wanted to completely kill a sage-level expert, only soul attacks would be the most effective. Although the true solution of illusions he had was a relatively powerful secret technique, the problem was that this secret technique was equivalent to a martial arts manual. It could analyze everything related to illusions, but it did not have any powerful secret soul technique. I wonder what secret soul techniques the All Saints Palace has. He thought carefully and immediately logged into the All Saints Palace's internal website. As a peak race, the human clan had collected countless precious secret techniques, and there must be many secret soul techniques among them. Even though secret soul techniques were extremely precious in the entire universe and would not be easily taught, a human saint like him was qualified to come into contact with them. Immediately, he opened the exchange list for secret soul technique. Immediately, there were many secret soul techniques listed on it. There were at least tens of thousands of them. Of course, these secret soul techniques varied from ordinary to precious, with varying values. For example, the soul lock technique seemed to be able to lock onto the enemy's soul and track them. No matter where the enemy ran to in the universe, they would be easily locked onto by the soul lock technique. The ripple soul shock technique could stimulate ripple-like soul fluctuations, forming a terrifying shock. Even the space-time domain could not withstand it. It could easily knock the enemy unconscious or even cause them to vomit blood. There were also curse techniques, which were powerful soul secret techniques that contained the curse law. They could curse enemies across countless space-time distances. The problem was that this secret technique had a huge flaw. Just like the 7 wounds fist, if you wanted to injure others, you had to injure yourself first. If you wanted to destroy the enemy's soul, you had to sacrifice your own soul. This was an equal exchange. It could be said that this was a sinister method of perishing together with the enemy. There are actually so many of them. However, since I am going to cultivate them, I will naturally have to cultivate the strongest secret soul technique. Xia Ping looked at the list and immediately saw the most expensive soul secret art. It required 1 billion points to exchange for, and its name was Zhuang Zhou's Dream of Butterfly. You must be joking. 1 billion points to exchange for a secret soul technique? When he saw the exchange points, he couldn't help but jump in fright. Other soul secret techniques required tens of millions of points at most, but this secret technique required a whopping 1 billion points. It was simply frightening. However, after reading the introduction, he suddenly understood why such a secret skill was so expensive. This secret soul technique, Zhuang Zhou Mengdai, seemed to have been created by a human saint who had reached the invincible realm. He was the strongest master of illusion in the entire human clan. In the primordial age, when fighting against the demons of the abyss, Saint Zhuang Zhou could cover billions of light-years with a single thought, causing countless demons to fall into a dream. Even the abyss demons in the invincible realm couldn't resist it. It could be said that he alone could fend off countless demons from the abyss. His name shook the boundless universe, and all the races in the universe were in awe of him. The dragon race, the phoenix race, and many other races all treated him like an esteemed guest. But unfortunately, Saint Zhuang Zhou was too much of a threat. The demons of the abyss saw him as a thorn in their flesh. They used all kinds of tricks and plotted against Saint Zhuang Zhou. In the end, Saint Zhuang Zhou died from serious injuries. This secret technique, Zhuang Zhou Mengdai, was a supreme secret technique left behind by Saint Zhuang Zhou. All the saints of the human clan treated it like a treasure. It contained Saint Zhuang Zhou's lifelong efforts and his understanding of the rule of illusion. It could be said that this wasn't just a simple secret technique. It also contained Saint Zhuang Zhou's understanding of his own cultivation. No wonder it requires 1 billion points. The understanding of an invincible saint is indeed worth so many points. Xia Ping realized. However, he now had a total of 6.8 billion points on him, so a mere 1 billion points was nothing. Being able to see such a precious soul secret technique was also a huge gain. Thinking of this, he didn't hesitate and immediately exchanged for the secret technique, Zhuang Zhou Mengdai. Exchange successful. At this moment, a robotic voice resounded from the depths of the universe virtual network. Fengdu Saint, this Zhuang Zhou Mengdai is one of the highest secret techniques of the human clan. Its value cannot be described with words. You must never leak it out. If not, you will be seen as a traitor and be chased by the human clan. I hope Fengdu Saint will remember this. In truth, only human saints had the right to exchange for this technique. It only required 1 billion points. If it was someone from another race, no matter how many points they had, they wouldn't be able to exchange for it. Even vassal races couldn't do so. I understand. I definitely won't leak it out. Xiaoping nodded. This technique is extremely important. It can only be used in the Universe Virtual Network. Hence, Fengdu Saint has to stay in the Universe Virtual Network to receive the inheritance. The robotic voice resounded once more. Yes, Xiaoping said. Rumble, the moment the voice landed, the entire Universe Virtual Network changed. It seemed to transform into a boundless space. An old man wearing a Taoist robe appeared in front of Xiaoping. He sat in space. It was as though he was riding on a Kuanping that had crossed multiple star fields. His body was in between reality and illusion. It was as though he was in a different dimension. No one could find his tracks. Without a doubt, this old man was the legendary Zhuangzhou sage. Of course, this wasn't his real body. It was just a projection that he had left in the Universe Virtual Network. Even after countless years, it hadn't weakened at all. He wondered exactly how powerful such a figure was in the primeval age. He didn't bother with Xiaoping. He sat in space and spat out words. It was like the sound of the Tao. It formed the laws of the universe. It was a supreme scripture. This was the content of Zhuangzhou Mengdai. Xiaoping didn't dare delay. He focused and listened carefully to Zhuangzhou Sage's words. Chapter 2409. Many days later, Xiaoping finally left the virtual network. He also learned Saint Zhuangzhou's secret technique from the inheritance, Zhuangzhou Dream of Butterfly. Phew, indeed an invincible saint's soul technique, it's indeed extraordinary. He took a deep breath and was in high spirit. A terrifying light shone in the depths of his eyes. After several days of preaching and listening to the teachings of Saint Zhuangzhou, he had a deeper understanding of the illusory arts. He had already reached a new level and gained a lot from it. Even though he had the true understanding of illusory arts, he could not compare to Sage Zhuangzhou, who had immersed himself in illusory arts for countless years. Just a few words from him was enough to enlighten him. This was the use of a master. Zhuangzhou Dream of Butterfly, this technique is indeed powerful. Xiaoping squinted his eyes. Just at the beginner level, this soul technique could instantly release illusions, pulling the enemy into a dream, making them think that they have become a carefree butterfly, without any worries, falling into eternal oblivion. Don't think that this was easy to achieve. In fact, just the beginner level was extremely difficult. This was because any warrior with a strong will would find it extremely difficult to hypnotize someone, much less pull them into an illusion. To do this, one needed to completely hypnotize someone or even erase all their memories before instilling it into the butterfly's memory. Only then could such a thing be done. Furthermore, if one didn't instill the butterfly's memory but a pig's, then one would become a pig, eating and sleeping well every day. Instilling into a dog's memory, then one would become a dog. And if it was instilled into someone else's memory, then one would think that one was dead and reincarnated. One wouldn't have any doubts. Instead, they would find all sorts of reasons to convince themselves. In the past, Sage Zhuangzhou had changed the memories of billions of abyssal demons with a single thought, making them think that he was a human. Thus, they had betrayed him. They hated the original abyssal demons and killed each other, causing the abyss to suffer heavy losses. From this, one could see how terrifying Zhuangzhou Dream of Butterfly was. However, this is just the beginner level. If I reach a higher level, it'll be even more terrifying. Xiaoping clenched his fist. What he had just described was just the basics. If he could reach a higher level, he would be able to cover thousands of light years with a single thought. Using his soul force, he would be able to create a huge illusion world. This illusory world was incomparably real. It had its own civilization, its own history, and countless creatures lived here. The civilization was extremely resplendent and dazzling. Enemies who were enveloped by the illusory world would be dragged into this world and become a member of the illusory characters in this world, making them think that their lives were just like that and that they would sink into oblivion forever. Of course, this ability seemed to be somewhat similar to the true illusion quintessence, and there seemed to be some similarities between the two. Therefore, Sage Zhuangzhou's mastery in illusions might not be comparable to the creator of the true solution of illusions, but he had already walked on the same path and understood the true essence of the great Tao of illusions. However, compared to the true solution of illusions, Sage Zhuangzhou's dream of butterfly was more like a manual. It was as if someone was teaching you how to fabricate dreams step by step. To give a simple example, the true solution of illusions was like basic physics and mathematics, which could help you understand the essence of illusions. However, Sage Zhuangzhou's dream of butterfly was a book that taught you how to build and maintain various technological machines. Of course, it was almost impossible for an ordinary person to learn Sage Zhuangzhou's dream of butterfly because it was too difficult. Furthermore, it had a high requirement for one's aptitude. However, for someone like Xia Ping, who had already comprehended the true solution of illusions, comprehending Sage Zhuangzhou's dream of butterfly was like a matter of course. Another 10 days passed. Xia Ping stayed in the space of the mountain river Pearl and continued to study Sage Zhuangzhou's dream of butterfly. As for the various things that happened in the outside world, it had nothing to do with him. Among them were the sages of Thunder City, such as the Purple Thunder Sage. The Rain Listener Sage once wanted to visit him, but he refused to meet them with the reason that he was in seclusion. On this day, his body trembled. Boom! In an instant, with his body as the center, a huge illusory world with a radius of 700 light-years immediately enveloped it. Mountains rose from the ground, rivers ran through the void, countries stood in great numbers, and countless living beings with flesh and blood appeared in this world. These living beings could even talk to each other. They had their own history, memories, and personalities. The laws of illusion interweaved with each other, enveloping this world like an eggshell. It was as if a world had been created out of thin air. If this was not an illusory state, others who saw this scene would probably believe it was real, thinking that a huge, mysterious, and tyrannical world had appeared in this universe. My illusory realm has finally reached the first level of perfection. Xia Ping clenched his fists in excitement. Without a doubt, this Sage Zhuangzhou's dream of butterfly had a great effect on him. The first level of illusory techniques was one thought, one world. It was also divided into beginner, intermediate, advanced, and perfection. Now, he had finally reached the first level of perfection. He was only one step away from the second level of illusory techniques, one thought, one world. Once he broke through to the second level of illusory techniques, he would be a true grandmaster of illusion. Such an existence, even in the entire universe, could be counted on one's fingers. However, even the first level of illusory techniques perfection was extremely terrifying. If it was a sage whose soul power was weaker than his, he could probably pull the enemy into the illusion world of Zhuangzhou's dream of butterfly with just a thought, causing the enemy to sink into it forever, unable to extricate themselves. The most terrifying characteristic of Zhuangzhou's dream of butterfly was that it was stealthy and silent. Often, it could control the enemy unknowingly. That was why Sage Zhuangzhou was feared by all the races in the universe, and was regarded as a mortal enemy by the demons of the abyss. Since my illusory techniques have reached perfection, it seems that it is time to head to the dragon world. The reason why Xia Ping had not gone to the dragon world for so long was because he wanted to improve his illusory techniques to perfection. After all, the dragon world was the base camp of the dragon race. There were countless experts and old monsters there, who knew what kind of accident would happen. Therefore, the more tricks he mastered, the higher the chance of survival. Now that his illusory techniques had reached the first level of perfection, his strength was probably several times more terrifying than before. With just a thought, he could make the sage of the Middle Ages fall into an illusion, unable to extricate himself. Even if he were to be besieged by the dragon race's sage, he would not be afraid. In front of an illusion master, besieging him would be equivalent to courting death. Chapter 24:10. A few days later, Xia Ping quietly left Thunder City without letting anyone know about it. After leaving the Thunder City, he took out the myriad star, boarded the flying ship, and flew off into the distance. Master, yes, fly towards the northeast. I can sense that the Dragon Realm is there. It seems to be quite far away from the Thunder Sea region. The primordial heavenly dragon talisman artifact spirit directed the direction the myriad star was flying in. Oh right, do you have a name for the primordial heavenly dragon talisman? Xia Ping asked. No, I might have had a name before, but I have lost almost all of my memories, so I don't have a name now, the primordial heavenly dragon talisman artifact spirit replied. Xia Ping rubbed his chin and said, All right, then I will give you a name. It will be easier for you to remember in the future. You shall be called Ao Wu from now on. Thank you, Master. The primordial heavenly dragon talisman artifact spirit nodded excitedly. Its sense of belonging to Xia Ping had also increased. This time, the voyage took a full 3 months. During this period, the myriad star crossed countless seas and dodged countless cosmic storms. Finally, it neared the Dragon Realm. It seemed to be a remote and barren sea region. This nameless sea region was also in the Mystic Zone. However, because of the lack of resources, basically no one came to this place. Is this the place? Xia Ping asked. He looked around. Everywhere was barren. There were also many isolated islands in this sea region. However, there were no resources on these isolated islands. They were worthless. It was no wonder that no race came to this place. It was practically deserted. Even in the Mystic Zone that was rich in resources, there were actually many places that were even more barren than ordinary zones. These were all uninhabited zones, and no one would fight for such territory. Yes, Master. I can sense that the entrance to the Dragon Realm should be nearby. Ao Wu nodded and said confidently, however, we can't enter the Dragon Realm for now. We need to find a loophole in the Dragon Realm before we can enter. Otherwise, the patriarchs of the Dragon Realm will definitely find out. Although he could sense where the Dragon Realm was, he still needed a certain amount of time to enter the Dragon Realm without being discovered by the patriarchs of the Dragon Realm. Only then could he find the loophole in the Dragon Realm. After all, such a huge world could not be without loopholes even though it looked perfect. These loopholes were the key to entering the Dragon Realm. Dragon Realm? I'll see if it's nearby. Xia Ping activated the Golden Crow's eyes of hell and saw through the void, piercing through the 8 realms. All the space-time hidden in the depths of the dimension appeared in his pupils, big and small. Boom! In an instant, he saw a huge dimensional entrance appear above a deserted island. It seemed to be hidden beyond the 108,000 dimensional barriers. If not for the Hell Golden Crow's eyes that allowed him to ignore dimensional barriers, he probably wouldn't have discovered the existence of this entrance. In the sky above the entrance, an extremely huge world had appeared. This world was simply boundless, spanning tens of trillions of light years. Even with the power of Xia Ping's divine sense, he could only perceive the tip of the iceberg. Vaguely, he discovered that the appearance of this world was like an ancestral dragon. It exuded an endless aura of a true dragon and contained extremely complicated runes of the laws of origin. This kind of aura suppressed the void and suppressed the surroundings. However, the size of this ancestral dragon was simply too big. It was so big that one couldn't even see its tail and head. All one could see was a piece of scale on its body. Just the surface area of this scale alone was probably 10 times larger than the Lightning Sea region. What is this? Could the dragon realm be a super world formed after the ancestral dragon died? Xiaoping was shocked. He felt as if he had seen through many of the mysteries of the dragon realm. The golden crow of hell bloodline in his body also seemed to be shaken by this aura from the ancestral dragon. It was vaguely resisting, as if a golden crow of hell had awakened from the depths of his bloodline. At this moment, his body was buzzing. Every drop of golden crow of hell blood was boiling like lava from hell. The dark golden blood surged like the ocean. Master, could it be that you have discovered the location of the dragon realm? Aowu asked curiously. He had also sensed the strange state of Xiaoping's body. Yes, I have indeed seen it. Xiaoping nodded. That's amazing, Master. Aowu's face was full of admiration. It is said that the dragon realm is different from ordinary worlds. It exists in between reality and illusion. It is illusory and exists above the void. Even primordial sages may not be able to sense the aura and traces of this world. Ordinary sages would not even be able to sense the dragon realm if it appeared in front of them, much less come into contact with it. It is as if it is in another dimension. He knew that just the ability to discover the location of the dragon realm was extraordinary. This master of his was indeed very powerful. He was only at the near ancient realm, but his ability had already surpassed many sages. No wonder you said that we need to find the loophole of the dragon realm before we can enter. This world is indeed seamless and flawless. There is almost no loophole that can be used to invade. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He could see that the dragon realm in the depths of the dimension was covered in dense nomological patterns. It seemed to form a complete closed loop, constantly flowing and rotating. It was unfathomably deep. Thick nomological chains like the Milky Way wrapped around this world, forming an absolute world domain. It was even different from the original nomological laws of the universe. It operated completely independently. One could imagine that if any foreign object entered the dragon realm, it would immediately be discovered by the old antiques that controlled the dragon realm. Even a fly would not be able to enter. It was not that no sages had searched for traces of the dragon realm over the countless years. They had even appeared at the entrance of the dragon realm. The problem was that the entire dragon realm was like a super fortress. So what if they found traces of the dragon realm? Without the permission of the dragon race's patriarchs, no sages could enter. Unless they wanted to start an all-out war with the patriarchs. Also, the dragon realm could move freely and could move to other places at any time. Thus, the traces of the dragon realm became even more elusive. As time passed, the dragon race became even more mysterious. Even the sages did not know much about the dragon race. Master is wise. Aowu was impressed. How long do you need to find a way to sneak into the dragon realm? Xiaoping asked. Aowu thought for a moment. 3 days. I need at least 3 days to find the loophole of the dragon realm's operation. All right, then we'll wait here for 3 days. Xiaoping nodded. He also did not want to alarm those old antiques of the dragon race by entering the dragon realm. That could cause him great trouble. This time, he was here to obtain benefits, not to look for trouble. Chapter 24:11. Just as Xiaoping was about to find a deserted island and wait for 3 days, boom! All of a sudden, he sensed intense battle fluctuations hundreds of light years away. The void was distorted. It seemed like sages were fighting on another deserted island. What's going on? There's still a battle going on here? Xiaoping's heart flickered. The world tree clone on his body immediately extended billions of thick roots of the world tree, covering an area of 700 light-years in an instant. Soon, his divine sense silently enveloped the battlefield and saw what was happening there. In the center of the battlefield, 4 immortal sages appeared. 3 of them were sages of the dragon tribe. All of them emitted a terrifying dragon aura that distorted the void. The last one was a human sage, a female sage who had just entered the immortal realm. However, Xia Ping recognized this sage. It was Yi Mengyao, whom he had a one-night stand with. At this moment, Yi Mengyao was in a precarious situation. She spat out a mouthful of blood. Her aura was weakening rapidly. Clearly, she had been severely injured while being chased. Even though she had an immortal body, she was still no match for the three-peak immortal realm sages of the dragon tribe. She would probably die in the hands of the dragon tribe sages soon. It's Yi Mengyao. Why is she here? Xia Ping's body flickered and he immediately teleported over. Although he didn't know what was happening around Yi Mengyao, he couldn't just watch Yi Mengyao die in this place. Currently, on a deserted island, three-peak immortal realm sages of the dragon tribe were confronting Yi Mengyao. Both sides were engaged in a fierce battle. Although Yi Mengyao was only an early immortal realm sage, her combat power was terrifying. She held a low-grade sacred longbow in her hand. Every time she shot, it was like an arrow of principle. Every time she shot, it could severely injure the immortal body of the dragon tribe. The three-peak immortal realm sages of the dragon tribe were also fearful. They kept dodging. If they were hit, even with their powerful bodies, they would be severely injured. Human, hand over the dragonwood star nucleus. If you hand it over, we can spare your life. That's right. This dragonwood star is of great benefit to our dragon race. It can be considered a treasure of our dragon race. There's no way it would fall into the hands of you humans. You are alone right now while there are three of us. Even if your combat prowess is not bad, you are definitely no match for us. Most importantly, we've already notified the elders in the clan. Very soon, near ancient realm sages and even middle ancient realm sages will arrive. You won't be able to escape. The three saints of the dragon tribe at the peak of immortal realm shouted. They tried to attack Yi Mengyao's morale. If this human woman's confidence wavered in the slightest, they would not hesitate to use their killer moves to kill this human sage and snatch the dragonwood star core. It's the dragonwood star core? Xia Ping, who was teleporting over, couldn't help but be moved when he heard these words. This was an incredible peerless treasure. It was rumored that this was the essence of a planet. This peerless treasure would only be born when the planet was about to be extinguished. Ordinary sages would not be able to see it even once in a billion years. If it was put up for auction, it would be sold out. This was because this star core contained the complete laws of the universe. If one carried it with them and carefully comprehended it, it would be of great help in comprehending the laws of the yard. It would allow one to get closer to the origin of the universe. If they could devour the energy inside this star core, they could immediately save billions of years of cultivation. It was equivalent to devouring the essence of a living planet. One could imagine how precious this star core was. And this dragonwood star core was even more incredible. Perhaps a sage of the dragon tribe had once fallen on a planet. Its blood had seeped into every corner of the planet and fused with the star core. Then, after billions of years of metamorphosis, it finally became a peerless treasure. Therefore, this star core not only contained the pure essence of the wood element, but it also contained extremely abundant life energy. It also contained an enormous amount of origin energy of the dragon tribe sages. If this star core was taken away by the dragon tribe sages and devoured, they would probably be able to advance immediately. Even for the sages of the Middle Ages, it was a treasure that was extremely desired. Xia Ping did not find it strange that these sages of the dragon tribe would have evil intentions. It was because the dragonwood star core was too precious. It was a treasure that could not be bought even with money. Get lost, the dragonwood star core is a treasure I found on this deserted island. It is not a treasure of your dragon tribe. You are really shameless. You want to steal my treasure? Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Yi Mengyao sneered. She had rich battle experience and was also a peerless genius that only appeared once in a billion years. How could she be scared by the words of these sages of the dragon tribe? Even though she was in a critical situation, it did not mean that she did not have a way to escape. Moreover, it would not be easy for these three-peak Immortal Realm sages to kill her. However, although she did not want to admit it, her current situation was indeed very dangerous. In order to escape, she had been burning her chi and blood. She had already started to damage the essence of her soul. If she continued, she might damage her foundation. At that time, even if she could escape, if her foundation was damaged, she would never be able to reach the near ancient realm for the rest of her life. She felt that she was really out of luck. Originally, she thought that she had found a relic of an almighty expert on this deserted island and discovered the existence of the Dragonwood Star Core. Her luck had turned for the better. However, she had never thought that she would meet these sages of the Dragon Tribe. Originally, these sages of the Dragon Tribe would not easily appear in the mystic area. She did not know why they had appeared. She had even encountered such enemies. She did not know whether she was lucky or unlucky. However, no matter what, she would not hand over the Dragonwood Star Core. It was related to her own fate. Most importantly, even if she handed over the Dragonwood Star Core, these sages of the Dragon Tribe would not let her go. She could feel the evil and murderous intent deep in the hearts of these evil dragons. Humph, stupid human, stubborn. Since you want to die, we will fulfill your wish. We must have the Dragonwood Star Core. It is not something that a small human like you can touch. The three-peak Immortal Realm sages of the Dragon Tribe sneered. They immediately took action, splitting into three directions and attacking Yi Mengyao. They wanted to kill this damned human sage instantly and snatch the Dragonwood Star Core. Otherwise, when their parents and seniors came, they would not have a share. Damn it. Yi Mengyao's face was solemn. She could feel that these three immortal sages of the Dragon Tribe were not joking. If she could not hold on, she might really die. Boom, however, at this moment, the void twisted and an invisible illusory power enveloped her. Chapter 24:12. Buzz. In an instant, a powerful soul power shrouded the void, seeping into every corner of this area. The three saints at the peak of Immortal Realm couldn't resist at all. In an instant, they fell into an illusion, as if they were dragged into an illusory world. In this illusory world, they were still madly fighting against Yi Mengyao, immersed in the excitement of getting the Dragonwood Star Core. In reality, they were also dumbstruck. Their eyes were dull and they couldn't move. What's going on? Yi Mengyao was dumbfounded. She had no idea what was going on. Just now, the three saints at the peak of Immortal Realm surrounded her with a murderous look. She was already prepared to fight to the death with this group of Dragon Race sages, but she did not expect that the three Dragon Race sages would suddenly be stunned, as if they were completely controlled by someone. Whoosh! The void twisted and a figure appeared in front of Yi Mengyao. Xia Ping, why are you here? Yi Mengyao's pupils shrank when she saw this figure. How could she not know this person who suddenly appeared in front of her? Even if he turned into ashes, she would still recognize him. After all, the two of them had done something indescribable. One night of wet dreams, and he took away her first time. She didn't know how many times this despicable man had appeared in her dreams. However, she never thought that she would meet him in this nameless sea in the mystic area. It's just a coincidence. Xia Ping smiled. I didn't expect to meet you in this nameless sea. Moreover, I happened to see you being chased by a few saints of the Dragon Clan. If I didn't help you, I'm afraid you would be dead by now. Haha, you mean you helped me? What a joke. Even without you, those useless saints of the Dragon Clan couldn't have killed me. Hearing these words, Yi Mengyao was filled with anger. She clenched her teeth. This hateful man actually wanted to treat her as his savior. He was really hateful. However, when she saw the three saints at the peak of Immortal Realm, she was shocked. After all, they were saints at the peak of Immortal Realm. They were extremely powerful. However, this man had just appeared and instantly subdued the three undying saints. His strength was so strong that it made one's hair stand on end. It was unbelievable. Even though she had more or less heard of Xia Ping's reputation in the universe, she didn't expect his strength to have improved to such a level. It seemed like he could even casually kill an immortal saint. This kind of strength was probably far beyond his own. Still being stubborn? It's the nature of women to say one thing and mean another. Hearing this, Xia Ping shook his head. Don't worry, I'm not trying to save you. I just want to save the child in your stomach. I don't want to kill two people at once. Bullsh *T, who has a child in their stomach. A dog's mouth can't spit out ivory. Yi Mengyao was so angry that her face turned red. Her beautiful eyes stared at Xia Ping. She simply wanted to eat this guy up. You don't have a baby in your belly? It seems that I guessed wrong. After one night, I almost thought that I had become a cheap father. Xia Ping touched his chin and looked at Yi Mengyao. Damn scum, who would let you become a cheap father? Stop dreaming. Yi Mengyao was so angry that she almost died. Looking at this bastard's worried face, just how many women had he offended? Not only did he show mercy everywhere, but he also left his seed everywhere. Who knew how many illegitimate children this bastard had outside? There might even be some pregnant women looking for him to settle the score and ask for compensation. Forget it, it's best that you didn't make me a father. Let's talk after I capture these 3 saints of the dragon race. Xia Ping waved his hand and wanted to capture the 3 saints of the dragon race. He didn't want to kill them for now. After all, they might be from the dragon world and might know a lot of information about the dragon world. Under torture, he would be able to understand more about the dragon world. This would be of great benefit to him when he entered the dragon world. Stop, you scoundrel. You dare to capture the saints of my dragon race. You are courting death. Release the saints immediately. At this moment, a dragon's roar came from the void in the distance. It was earth-shattering. Ripples that could be seen with the naked eye appeared in a radius of billions of kilometers. Space-time trembled. Oh no, the reinforcements of the dragon race are here. Hearing the terrifying might of the law contained in the voice, Yi Mingyao's expression changed. She could sense that the newcomers were much more powerful than the 3 immortal saints. They had at least reached the near ancient realm, or even the middle ancient realm. Their strength was unfathomable. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Before she could think of anything, a ripple appeared in the void in the distance. Immediately, 5 saints of the dragon race walked out from the depths of the void. 3 of them had reached the middle ancient realm, while the other 2 were near ancient realm pinnacle dragon race saints. The 5 of them emitted a terrifying draconic aura. The radius of hundreds of light years was enveloped by the draconic aura. Even low-level lifeforms couldn't maintain a clear mind under such pressure. This was the aura of a superior being. It's over. It's all over now. Yi Mingyao's heart immediately sank. To be honest, she had a trump card that could allow her to escape from the immortal saint. However, she didn't have the confidence to escape from the Middle Ancient Realm saint. That was because the Middle Ancient Realm saints had comprehended the law of time. Before she could even make a move, the time within a radius of billions of kilometers would stop with a single thought. No matter how much power she had, no matter how many trump cards she had, she probably wouldn't be able to use them in front of such existences. She wouldn't even have the chance to use them. The difference between the immortal realm and the Middle Ancient Realm was just too great. I received news that a human saint obtained the Dragonwood Star Core. That's why I rushed over. I thought that the Dragonwood Star Core had long been taken by the juniors of my race. Even that human saint might have been killed. A cold glint flashed in the eyes of one of the Middle Ancient Realm saints. I didn't expect an expert like you to appear in the human race. You can actually control the juniors of my race in an instant. You are indeed very capable. His gaze landed on Xia Ping. This was because the greatest threat to the 2 human race sages was undoubtedly this man. It could sense that this kid's cultivation had already reached the near ancient realm middle stage, and his strength was indeed much stronger than that of its 3 juniors. Human, let's cut the crap. Immediately release the 3 juniors of our race. At the same time, hand over the Dragonwood Star Core. Otherwise, you won't be able to escape death today. Don't think that you can escape from us just because you comprehended the law of space. The power of our dragon race's space-time domain isn't something you can imagine. Our battle prowess far surpasses that of human saints of the same level. The few saints of the dragon race shouted angrily. Their killing intent surged, and their words contained a great threat. Chapter 24:13. Boom, a violent dragon aura and murderous aura immediately gushed out from the sages of the dragon clan, triggering a terrifying killing intent in the world. The wind and clouds changed, and the void within a radius of billions of kilometers trembled. From this, one could see how powerful the sages of the dragon clan were. Their strength far surpassed that of sages of the same level. Yi Mengyao was just an immortal sage. How could she withstand such a terrifying killing intent? She felt as if she was carrying several worlds on her back. She couldn't even breathe. It was her first time facing such a terrifying killing intent. Dong. However, at this moment, Xia Ping suddenly stood in front of Yi Mengyao. The space domain on his body spread out, as if he had cast a world barrier, easily blocking the aura and killing intent. He casually grabbed the 3 peak immortal sages of the Dragon Clan who had fallen into the illusion and put them into the internal space of his pearl of mountains and rivers. This! Yi Mingyao's beautiful eyes widened. She could completely feel the power of the space domain on Xia Ping's body. It could actually easily block the killing intent and aura of the saints of the Middle Ages and eliminate them. She could sense that Xia Ping's strength was no longer the same as before. He had already advanced to the near-ancient realm and comprehended the law of space. His strength was 1 level higher than hers. However, she was still worried. After all, there were 3 saints of the Middle Ages who had comprehended the law of time in front of her. How could he withstand such power? Before Yi Mengyao could say anything, Xia Ping's actions were immediately seen by the 5 sages of the Dragon Clan. Their pupils shrank and they emitted terrifying anger. That was because such an action was too unscrupulous, and it was too disrespectful. Such an action had undoubtedly aroused the anger of the 5 dragon race sages. Human, how dare you capture the sages of the Dragon Clan in front of us? You refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. You're courting death. A saint of the Dragon Clan who had reached the Middle Ancient Realm roared furiously. They felt that they had given this human sage enough face. However, this human sage was so arrogant that he ignored all their warnings. He even captured 3 saints of the immortal Dragon Clan in front of them. This was simply a slap to their faces. Xiao. As soon as he finished speaking, the ancient Middle Realm saint of the Dragon Clan immediately made his move. A huge dragon claw reached out, seemingly distorting time and space. The void that spanned hundreds of millions of miles was under the control of this dragon claw. At this moment, it was as if time and space had come to a complete stop. Everything in the world was unable to move, and only that dragon claw could smash over with boundless killing intent. Yi Mengyao could feel all the cells in her body trembling. It was as if she was hit by this claw, even if she had an immortal body, she would still die and her soul would be destroyed. Spatial domain, absolute barrier. However, Xia Ping didn't move. Instead, he activated his space domain. Instantly, with his body as the center, a spatial barrier that resembled the patterns of an ancient tortoise shell burst forth, sweeping through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Vaguely, it was as if a world blessed by the gods had enveloped every corner of his body, and the spatial barrier was covered in dense and complex patterns of the laws of space. Dong! In an instant, the dragon claw slammed down, bombarding the spatial barrier on Xia Ping's body. The 2 forces collided in a frenzy, creating an intense impact. The surrounding void distorted, creating a powerful spatial storm. The surrounding islands were destroyed by this force, and countless rocks were instantly shattered into pieces. Meanwhile, Xia Ping and Yi Mengyao, who was behind him, were still unharmed. It was as if this power that could shatter time and space could not penetrate within one step of the spatial barrier. Impossible, this is a claw that contains the laws of space and time. It can distort time and space, and it can even kill a near-ancient realm saint from tens of millions of dimensions away. Yet, you can withstand it. What kind of space domain is this? How can it be so powerful? The ancient Dragon Clan saint who attacked was shocked. To be honest, it had lived for countless eras. Although it had spent most of its time in the dragon world, it was considered to have seen many geniuses from all the major races. However, it had never seen such a terrifying human saint. He had only reached the near-ancient realm, but the laws of space he had condensed were able to withstand its punch that contained the laws of space and time. Such a thing was simply too absurd and unimaginable. If it had not experienced it for itself and seen it with its own eyes, it would have thought that it was a joke. It was not the only one who was shocked. The other 4 Dragon Clan saints were also shocked. Their minds trembled and their pupils contracted. They did not expect the human saint to be so powerful. This is my chance. Secret Soul Technique. Zhuang Zhou's Dream of Butterfly. Xia Ping's current soul power was so powerful, and his perception of the soul was so sharp that even the ancient saints might not be able to compare to him. He immediately sensed that the 5 Dragon Clan saints' minds were shaken and revealed a flaw. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him to use his illusion to control them. Buzz, in an instant, with his body as the center, waves of ethereal soul fluctuations spread out, covering a radius of 700 light-years in an instant. It was so silent that even the laws of space and time could not withstand it. What? Damn it, this is the secret soul technique, an illusion? Bastard, damn human, how dare you attack us? Use the secret soul technique of the Dragon Clan and stop him immediately. The 5 Dragon Clan saints also sensed this silent secret soul technique. They were shocked and angry at once. They did not expect this human to be so crazy that he dared to attack all 5 of them at the same time. They roared and tried to resist, but it was too late. This Zhuang Zhou dream of butterfly technique was silent and immediately penetrated the flaw in their mind. It turned into ethereal soul butterflies and instantly sank into the depths of their souls. Boom! In an instant, the 5 Dragon Clan saints were stunned and fell into the world of Zhuang Zhou dream of butterfly technique. They were surrounded by blue butterflies and their eyes were completely dull. Obviously, they did not have any strength to resist. Haha, it worked. As expected of the Zhuang Zhou dream of butterfly technique. Even the saints of the Middle Ages could not resist it. If we are careful, maybe even the ancient saints will fall for it. Xia Ping laughed loudly and his heart was filled with joy. It was not in vain that he had painstakingly cultivated this secret soul technique. It was indeed strange and powerful. If he had used other magical powers to fight against these saints of the Middle Ages, he was afraid that it would not end in a short time. However, it was different when he used Zhuang Zhou dream of butterfly technique. As long as the other party had a moment of carelessness, they would be controlled by him and fall into an illusion, unable to extricate themselves and trapped in it forever. Let's go. Xia Ping grabbed the 5 Dragon Clan saints and imprisoned them in the space of the Pearl of Mountain and River. At the same time, he also grabbed Yi Mengyao and quickly left this place to hide on other island. After all, this place was near the Dragon World, and there might be other Dragon Clan saints coming. Chapter 24:14. In the space of the Pearl of Mountain and River. At this moment, Xia Ping was far away from the place where the battle took place. He came to a nameless island in the distance and hid there temporarily. Then, he and Yi Mengyao hid in the space of the Pearl of Mountain and River. He believed that with the concealment ability of the Pearl of Mountain and River, even if the sages of the dragon tribe came nearby, they would not be able to detect his whereabouts, nor would they know that the sages of the dragon tribe had disappeared. But how should I deal with these sages of the dragon tribe? Xia Ping touched his chin. In addition to the 3 sages of the peak immortal realm, there were also 3 middle ancient realm and 2 near ancient realm dragon tribe sages who arrived later. He did not want to kill these sages of the dragon tribe for the time being, because he still needed to rely on them to obtain information about the dragon realm and various types of information. This was related to his safety after entering the dragon realm. No matter how cautious he was, it was the right thing to do. However, now that these 8 sages of the dragon tribe had fallen into an illusion, he could not control them for too long. If he were to undo the illusion, these 8 sages of the dragon tribe would definitely attack him. It seems that I have to find a way to completely seal their power and make them lose all their power. Then, they will not be able to cause any trouble. Thinking of this, Xia Ping immediately asked the system, do you have any spells that can seal the power of these sages of the dragon tribe so that they have no power and can't struggle? To answer the host, there are a total of 3,673 methods, but the most suitable for the host is the 6 paths sealing technique. The system replied, this is a supreme sealing technique. It uses the 6 path laws as the foundation to form a sealing formation. At its peak, even gods and demons can be sealed into mortals and reduced to animals. However, it also has 2 shortcomings. One is that it needs the other party to be unable to resist in order to be sealed successfully. The second is that it cannot seal experts 2 levels higher than itself. 6 paths sealing technique? Not bad, this secret technique is indeed not bad. Hearing these words, Xia Ping's eyes suddenly lit up. As expected of the system, it immediately found a powerful sealing secret technique that could solve the current problem. Although it could only seal people who could not resist, with his sole secret technique, Zhuang Zhou's dream of butterfly, he could instantly make the enemy fall into a dream, making them unable to resist. If these 2 secret techniques were used together, they would be able to seal all the sages in this world. As for the second flaw, it was even less of a flaw. It was just a flaw that appeared because his cultivation was not high enough. If he was strong enough, this secret technique would be even more powerful. This secret skill is not bad. I'll exchange for it. Xia Ping immediately said. Yes, host. This secret technique requires 50 hatred crystals, which have been deducted. The system said. Boom, as soon as he finished speaking, Xia Ping immediately sensed a massive information flow gushing out from the depths of his sea of consciousness. Densely packed images and all sorts of law-veined patterns emerged. Vaguely, he sensed a 6-pointed star symbol appearing in the depths of his sea of consciousness. It was as if the 6 corners represented the 6 realms' power, which was unfathomable. I see. This is the 6 Daos sealing technique. After receiving the system's enlightenment, Xia Ping immediately mastered this supreme sealing secret technique. The 6 paths sealing technique. This saved him countless years of effort in cultivating the secret technique. He was very excited. This was indeed an extremely powerful sealing secret technique. Once hit by the 6 paths sealing technique, no matter how strong one's cultivation was, they would be sealed into a mortal state. Moreover, without his permission, no sage would be able to touch such a seal, because this sealing secret technique had already penetrated the other party's soul. If it was forcibly removed, it would definitely cause the other party's soul to collapse. What are you doing? Yi Mengyao, who was next to him, looked at Xia Ping curiously. She saw that Xia Ping seemed to be forming a seal with his hands, and a hexagonal formation appeared in the void. It seemed to emit an unfathomable aura, as if it was the source power from the depths of hell. Vaguely, a trace of palpitation welled up in the depths of her heart. It seemed that this hexagonal formation represented the essence of the law of the universe, pointing directly to the essence of the great Tao. I'm using a sealing technique to completely seal the cultivation of these 8 dragon sages and reduce them to mortals. This way, it'll be easier to torture them. Xia Ping replied while casting the 6 paths sealing technique. Bang bang bang! In the blink of an eye, one spell after another was cast, and suddenly densely packed 6 runes instantly sank into the bodies of these 8 dragon sages, seeping into the depths of their souls. Soon, a mysterious and complicated 6 paths formation appeared in their bodies, and dense chains of laws gushed out, completely sealing their bodies in an instant. What? Yi Mengyao was shocked. She could not believe her eyes, because she clearly sensed that after these 8 extremely powerful dragon sages were covered and sealed by this formation, their aura rapidly weakened, and finally degenerated to the state of mortals, unable to use any magic power in the depths of their bodies. In this way they really degenerated to the state of mortals. Why did you seal their cultivation? Although Yi Mengyao was a little surprised that Xia Ping knew such a supreme sealing technique, she also knew that the universe was very big, and there were all kinds of secret techniques emerging one after another. It was not strange at all for such a sealing secret technique to appear. She was just curious as to why Xia Ping would waste so much effort to seal these dragon sages. Now that these dragon sages were already under Xia Ping's control, if the other party posed a threat, he could just kill them on the spot. Why waste so much effort? Because I want to find out information about the dragon realm from their mouth. Xia Ping replied. You want to use them to enter the dragon realm? Yi Mengyao immediately understood what Xia Ping was thinking. She shook her head and said, That's impossible, stop dreaming. There were people who once tried to capture some giant dragons to find the specific location of the dragon realm. But it was of no use at all. If anyone dared to enter the dragon realm, they would immediately be found out by the old antiques of the dragon clan. At that time, they would be instantly killed by the old antiques of the dragon clan. Anyone who trespassed into the dragon realm would die. Do you think that no one knows the specific location of the dragon realm after so many years? In fact, that's not the case. It's just that the dragon realm does not allow any life forms of other races to enter, so it's useless to know. She came from a super race and joined the All Saints Palace, so she naturally knew a lot of top-secret information. I already know the specific location of the dragon realm, and I also have my own way to sneak in. Now I just want to find them to understand the specific situation of the dragon realm, so that I don't know anything after entering. Xia Ping smiled slightly. You found a way to sneak into the dragon realm? Hearing this, Yi Mengyao could not help but be shocked, looking at Xia Ping in disbelief. Chapter 24:15. In fact, Yi Mengyao did not doubt Xia Ping's words because this guy was a cunning and shameless liar. If he really found a way to sneak into the dragon realm without being found out by the old antiques of the dragon realm, it would not be incomprehensible. However, if this was true, then this guy was really incredible, because there were many precious treasures in the dragon realm that could not be found in the outside world. Every time the treasures of the dragon realm appeared in the outside world, countless sages would fight over them. Therefore, if one could master a way to sneak into the dragon realm, it would be equivalent to finding an amazing way to make money. This was like the ancient Silk Road. If one could master this way, it would be easy to become a top tycoon in the universe. Bang! After completely sealing the 8 dragon sages, Xia Ping snapped his fingers and instantly let them out of the illusion. Immediately, they woke up one by one. What's going on? Where is this place? Didn't I just fight that damn human sage for 300 rounds and was about to kill him? Why am I here? The group of dragon sages were a little confused because in their minds, they should still be in the middle of a fierce battle with Xia Ping. Moreover, they had the upper hand and were about to force the damn human sage into a desperate situation. However, just as they were about to succeed, space-time suddenly changed, and they suddenly appeared in a strange place. This was really unusual. Damn it, no, we fell into this bastard's illusion and fell into an illusion. One of the ancient middle-stage dragon tribe saints shouted. It immediately came to its senses. It was clear that it had fallen into an illusion just now. he immediately saw Xia Ping standing in front of him with a faint smile on his face, and he could not help but be shocked. He was a sage from the Middle Ages who had comprehended the law of time. Yet, he was able to fall into an illusion without making a sound. Just how terrifying was that soul illusion just now? Even a sage from the Middle Ages couldn't resist it. Illusion? No way, I'm an ancient sage. How could I fall into that human's illusion without a sound? You're right, this is impossible. How could such a ridiculous thing happen? I didn't feel anything at all just now. Damn it, my power, where's my power? Why has it all disappeared? I'm even weaker than a mortal now. What's going on? Are we still in an illusion? If that's not the case, why don't we have the slightest bit of power? We can't mobilize any power of laws at all. The eyes of the 8 dragon sages revealed extremely shocked expressions. It was simply unbelievable because they realized that they had completely lost their power. This was even more shocking than when they realized that they had fallen into an illusion. Falling for an illusion might be a moment of carelessness, but if one lost their power, they would lose everything. In the Dragon Clan, they would become a true cripple. This was something they could not accept. All of the sages of the dragon race were struggling with all their might, trying to activate the power of the bloodline within their bodies. However, it was to no avail. They could not activate any power at all. It was as though they had never existed in the first place. Damned human, what have you done to us? What happened to our bloodline power? Where did it go? The 8 dragon saints were both shocked and furious. Stop struggling. You've been reduced to mortals after being hit by my 6 Dao seal. Without my permission, you'll be like this for the rest of your lives. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back. If you know what's good for you, listen to my orders obediently and tell me everything you know about the Dragon Realm. Maybe you'll have a chance to restore your power. You want to know about the Dragon Realm? What exactly do you want? An ancient dragon sage stared at Xia Ping. He felt that this human was extremely strange and had ill intentions. Such a person must be a huge threat to the Dragon Realm. You don't need to know that. You just need to tell me what you know. Xia Ping said indifferently. Stupid human. You want us to betray the Dragon Clan? Dream on. That's right. Even if we encounter any torture, we will not reveal any information about the Dragon Realm. You want to hurt the Dragon Clan? Unless you want to step over our corpses. Don't even think about getting a single piece of information from us. The 8 dragon sages sneered. They were very stubborn. They would not betray the Dragon Clan even if they died. They're so stubborn? Xia Ping was a bit surprised. He didn't expect these dragons to rather die than submit. Xia Ping, don't ask. They won't say anything even if you ask. Yi Mengyao said, rumor has it that all the dragons of the Dragon Clan have signed a mysterious ancestral dragon contract with the Dragon Realm. No dragon can reveal any information to the outside world. If anyone spits out half a word, they will be killed by the power of the contract. Even if they go to the end of the universe, they won't be able to escape the power of the law of cause and effect. That's why every time we capture a dragon, we can't get even half a word from them. Even if some dragons can't withstand the torture and spit out half a word, they will be killed by the power of the contract. There's such a thing? No wonder all of you look like you'd rather die than submit. So you'll die if you say anything. I thought you dragons weren't afraid of death. Xia Ping touched his chin. Damn human, why are you looking at us with such disdain? Even without the existence of this contract, we would never reveal any information about the Dragon Realm. Seeing Xia Ping's eyes, the 8 dragon sages seemed to have been greatly insulted. They were filled with grief and indignation. Human, since you know about the contract, you should know that you won't be able to get any information from us. Why don't you just let us go? We're of no value to you. One of the Dragon Clan's ancient saints suggested, and if you continue to imprison us, sooner or later our patriarch will know that we're imprisoned and sealed. At that time, I'm afraid you'll be hunted down by the entire dragon clan. Even the human clan won't be able to protect you." There was a hint of threat and intimidation in his tone. "You don't need to worry about that. But since you can't say anything, it doesn't matter. I have other ways to get what I want to know from you." Xiaoping smiled. "What?" The 8 saints of the dragon clan were shocked. What other tricks does this strange human have up his sleeves? With a swoosh, Xiaoping immediately took out a supreme treasure, the Book of Cause and Effect. Chapter 24:16. What are you trying to do? The 8 dragon saints were terrified. They instinctively sensed that something was wrong, because this strange book seemed to be emitting an extremely ominous aura, causing them to feel palpitations in the depths of their hearts. Yi Mengyao also blinked her eyes. She could also see that this was an extremely powerful magic treasure. It was different from ordinary saint artifacts. It seemed to contain a mysterious power. "You'll know soon enough." Xiaoping smiled. He reached out with his hand and instantly slapped the bodies of the 8 dragon sages. In an instant, strands of their souls were extracted from their bodies. Boom! In the next second, the pages of the Book of Karma flipped and instantly devoured the 8 strands of soul energy. He now recalled the various magical powers of the Book of Karma. Ability 1: Omniscient Everything. As long as a strand of the soul of a living being was devoured by the Book of Karma, it would be able to know all the information and memories of this living being. There was a saying in hell: once one was in the Book of Life and Death, then one's life and death would be controlled by oneself. Once the soul was devoured by the Book of Karma, all the information would be recorded in the Book of Karma. The power of karma would be generated between the 2 parties. Life and death would be controlled by the Book of Karma. Even if one already had an immortal body, as long as one gently swiped on the Book of Karma, no matter how powerful the living being was, they would die of old age. Unless they were not recorded in the Book of Karma, or their names were removed from the Book of Karma. Only then could they truly transcend and not be controlled by the Book of Karma. Walala, immediately, the Book of Karma kept flipping. The memories from the 8 dragon saints instantly poured into the Book of Karma. A huge amount of information was recorded in an instant. What happened? The 8 dragon saints were terrified to the extreme. They sensed a mysterious and powerful power that seemed to have penetrated every corner of their souls. All the memories and secrets in the depths of their sea of consciousness, even if they had forgotten them, were dug out by this power and recorded in the Book of Karma. The 8 dragon saints tried to stop it, but there was no way at all. They were now mortals and their bodies had no power at all. So that's how it is. This is the information about the dragon realm. Xiaoping suddenly understood. From the Book of Karma, he had successfully obtained the memories of the 8 dragon saints. He could be considered to have a preliminary understanding of the dragon realm. The dragon realm was an extremely large world, equivalent to a small universe. Its territory was simply boundless, reaching at least tens of trillions of light years. There were also a lot of giant dragons living in the dragon realm. Although their numbers couldn't be compared to the human race, they weren't a race with a small population either. Even though there were so many dragons in the dragon realm, they were divided into 5 major categories: elemental dragons, metal dragons, special dragons, primordial dragons, and pseudo-dragons. The so-called elemental dragon was a giant dragon that could control all kinds of natural elements, such as water dragons, fire dragons, earth dragons, gold dragons, wood dragons, poison dragons, ice dragons, lava dragons, and so on. Their bodies gathered and dispersed from their hearts, completely condensed from energy. Metal dragons referred to bronze dragons, gold dragons, diamond dragons, silver dragons, alloy dragons, and so on. Their bodies were extremely powerful and indestructible. They often appear in places where all kinds of mineral veins are formed. As for special dragons, they were dragons with all kinds of special abilities, such as fate dragons that could control the power of fate, time dragons that could control the power of time, spatial dragons that could control the power of space, dark dragons that could control the power of darkness, sky dragons that could control the power of the sky, earth dragons that could control the power of the earth, and so on. Primordial dragons were terrifying dragons that had survived since the primordial era. They had a rich ancestral dragon bloodline, and were the nobility of many giant dragons. They were above all other giant dragons. Primordial dragons were so rare that they were almost extinct. They were as precious as pandas. Basically, there weren't many giant dragons in the dragon realm that had seen primordial dragons. As for pseudo-dragons, there was no need to mention them. They were dragons with a relatively thin bloodline. Strictly speaking, they weren't members of the dragon race. They were just a species born from the erosion of the primordial dragon bloodline. However, pseudo-dragons were very numerous, far more than giant dragons. They were considered the lowest creatures in the dragon realm, and they played the role of servants to the giant dragons. Of course, there were some pseudo-dragons with amazing talent. After training, they could control power no less than that of other giant dragons. However, such pseudo-dragons were very rare, and they couldn't cause much trouble. I didn't expect there to be so many types of giant dragons. Xia Ping felt that he had learned something new. It was precisely because there were so many types of giant dragons, which led to them fighting each other for the various resources in the dragon realm. As a result, many countries were divided. For example, the Golden Nation established by the Gold Dragon, the Water China established by the Water Dragon, the Fire Dragon Cave Abode established by the Fire Dragon, the Sky Dragon City established by the Sky Dragon, and so on. These giant dragon countries often had wars. However, even though there were so many giant dragon countries, there was still a huge force that reigned over countless countries. It was the supreme organization that ruled the entire dragon realm, the Dragon God Shrine. All giant dragons that had advanced to the Sage Realm would join the Dragon God Shrine and be responsible for managing the affairs of the entire dragon realm. Once something big happened in the dragon realm, or if there was an invasion, or if there was a need to fight against other races, the Dragon God Shrine would personally come forward to mobilize and make decisions. Interesting. The strongest organization in the dragon realm, the Dragon God Shrine? It's a super organization that worships the ancestral dragon. It's probably similar to the human clan's All Saints Temple and the demon clan's Demon Saint Temple. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. He had a preliminary understanding of the dragon realm. Bastard, what did you do to us? How can you peek into our memories without triggering the ancestral dragon contract? The 8 dragon sages were horrified. They did not know what Xia Ping had done to them. They knew how powerful the ancestral dragon contract was. Even if there were sages who were proficient in soul secret techniques and tried to peek into their memories through their souls, they would be immediately discovered and stopped by the ancestral dragon contract. In serious cases, they would even be attacked by the supreme power of karma of the ancestral dragon contract, resulting in karma retribution. Even an invincible sage might not be able to resist it. However, this strange and mysterious human had taken out a strange book that could bypass the ancestral dragon contract and directly peek into their soul memories. This was simply unbelievable. This has nothing to do with you. Anyway, I've already learned what I want to know from your soul memories. Your only role now is to do manual labor. Obediently stay in this place and be slaves. Xia Ping waved his hand and immediately called the Green Bull over. He took the 8 dragon sages who were going crazy and made them work in the space of the Mountain River Pearl. Anyway, the Mountain River Pearl was opening up elixir fields everywhere, so he needed these giant dragons to do manual labor. Chapter 24:17. Seeing this, Yi Mingyao's expression became extremely strange. She knew how terrifying these 8 dragon sages were. Among them, 3 were medieval sages, 2 were near ancient sages, and the remaining 3 were sages at the peak of the immortal realm. Such a terrifying sage realm dragon was actually captured by this bastard, and not only did he not cherish it, he even dragged it down to this place to work as a laborer, plowing the field. If this matter were to spread out, who knew how many people would be scared to death? This was simply a waste of talent. Making a dignified dragon sage work as a laborer? What kind of joke was this? I heard that you obtained a dragonwood star core? After sending off the few dragon sages who were going crazy, Xia Ping turned around and looked at Yi Mengyao. That's right. By chance, I obtained a dragonwood star core in a certain relic. If you need it, I can give it to you. Although Yi Mengyao didn't want to part with the dragonwood star core and felt that it was her opportunity, if it wasn't for this bastard, she wouldn't have been able to keep her life, let alone obtain the dragonwood star core. Therefore, she felt that it was not a pity to give it to Xia Ping. I do need this dragonwood star core. It is very important to me, Xia Ping said. However, I am not the kind of person who would take things by force. I have a treasure that can be compared to the dragonwood star core. Perhaps I can exchange it with you. A treasure that can be compared to the dragonwood star core? Hearing this, Yi Mengyao was indeed very surprised. There were actually not many treasures that could be compared to the dragonwood star core in this universe. That's right. With a wave of his hand, Xia Ping took out an ageless fruit and a spatial fruit. This is an ageless fruit. After consuming it, even a lightning tribulation realm cultivator will be able to swiftly advance to the sempiternal realm, increasing their chances of transcending their lightning tribulation by 50%. Even if an immortal realm sage takes it, it will be greatly beneficial. It can save you hundreds of millions of years of time and effort in condensing magic power, allowing you to quickly advance to the peak of the immortal realm. And this is a space fruit. It contains a huge fragment of the origin source law of space. After eating it, you can quickly comprehend the origin source law of space and increase the chance of advancing to the immortal realm by 50%. What? Hearing this, Yi Mengyao couldn't help but be shocked. She looked at the 2 exotic fruits in Xia Ping's hands in disbelief. If what this bastard said was true, then these 2 exotic fruits were indeed very valuable. They could be compared to the dragonwood star nucleus, or even more valuable to some extent. After all, even if she obtained the dragonwood star core and devoured it, she might not be able to reach the near ancient realm. But after consuming this space fruit, there was actually a 50% chance of leveling up. Not only that, he could also take the opportunity to comprehend various laws of space. Just what sort of opportunity was this? Just what sort of treasure was this? If news of this heavenly fruit were to spread, countless sages would go crazy. To be honest, Yi Mengyao was indeed tempted. She looked at Xia Ping and said, "This heaven and earth exotic fruit is indeed enough. But why don't you use such a precious heaven and earth exotic fruit yourself?" At this moment, she also somewhat understood why Xia Ping's advancement speed was so fast. A large part of it was due to the effects of these heaven and earth exotic fruit. Otherwise, how could he improve so quickly? Don't worry. I have plenty of these exotic fruit. It's nothing. Xia Ping said carelessly, indicating that he had a pile of such heaven and earth exotic fruits on him. Because he had the help of the world tree, every time he killed a sage, he could refine a corresponding heaven and earth exotic fruit. By devouring the sage's source energy, he could strengthen himself. To the outside world, such heaven and earth exotic fruits were naturally very precious and rare. But to him, they were indeed common things on the street. Hearing this, Yi Mengyao's mouth twitched. She gritted her teeth. No wonder this bastard was so generous. It turned out that these things were all common things on him. This was like exchanging carrots for gold. But even so, she still wanted to trade. After all, although these heaven and earth exotic fruits were common things to this kid, to the outside world, they were indeed treasures that could be compared to the dragonwood star core. This is the dragonwood star core. Now it belongs to you. Yi Meng Yao immediately took out a fist-sized azure stone from her space ring. The azure stone was densely packed with rule patterns. Vaguely, there seemed to be a powerful dragon hiding in the deepest part of the stone, emitting terrifying dragon might and twisting the space. At the same time, the stone also contained an extremely large amount of star energy. Although the dragonwood star core was only the size of a fist, if the power inside the dragonwood star core were to be completely detonated, even a star region might be destroyed. That would be no less than the explosion of a super sun. Okay, these two fruits belong to you too. Xia Ping casually tossed the immortal fruit and the space fruit to Yi Meng Yao. I'm going to train in seclusion. After receiving the two fruits, Yi Meng Yao immediately planned to train in seclusion. She needed to recover from her injuries as soon as possible, and eating the immortal fruit was just right for that. At the same time, she might even be able to use the immortal fruit to advance to a higher level, which would allow her to improve by leaps and bounds. Whoosh! At that moment, Xia Ping's body flashed and he immediately appeared in front of Dumbo Gaia. Brother, what's this? At that moment, Dumbo, who was still in a deep sleep, seemed to have sensed the enormous energy of the dragonwood star core and woke up immediately. She stared at the azure dragonwood star core in Xia Ping's hand with a longing look. This is the dragonwood star core, a rare treasure of the universe. It should be of great benefit to your growth. Xia Ping smiled. He had obtained the dragonwood star core to give to Dumbo to help her grow. After all, Dumbo was Gaia. As long as she had enough resources, she could grow quickly. He had also learned a lot about Gaia through the All Saints Palace. It was said that to speed up Gaia's growth, all she needed was to devour all kinds of star cores. The more energy, the better. Once she devoured enough star cores, Gaia would be able to skip the Near Ancient Realm, Middle Ancient Realm, Immemorial Ancient Realm, and directly advance to the Archean Ancient Realm. Her body would then form a world that contained the complete laws of the universe. This was a powerful talent of the Gaia clan. Thank you, brother. Little Dumbo was very excited. She took it and swallowed the dragonwood star nucleus in one gulp. It felt like she was eating a steamed bun. Boom! In an instant, the enormous energy of the star core surged into Dumbo's body, causing the Gaia space in Dumbo's body to undergo earth-shaking changes. Xia Ping, who had signed a contract with Gaia, seemed to have received the same benefits. The enormous energy of the star core surged into his body like a tide. Chapter 24:18. This energy is truly enormous. Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He could feel the extremely pure astral energy coming from Dumbo Gaia's body. This was only a portion of the dragonwood star core's energy. However, even if it was just a small portion of the energy, it was enough to save him millions of years of effort in condensing magic power. It was no wonder that when this dragonwood star nucleus appeared, even the saints of the Middle Ages wanted to snatch it. This was indeed an extremely precious treasure that everyone coveted. He could feel his magic power rising steadily, as though he was about to ascend to the pinnacle of the near ancient intermediate stage. At the same time, the golden crow of hell cells in his body were also awakening. It could be said that his strength was improving at a speed visible to the naked eye. As for Dumbo Gaia, who had devoured most of the dragonwood star's energy, the benefits were even greater. In the perception of Xia Ping's divine sense, the Gaia space in Dumbo's body seemed to be expanding rapidly, constantly opening up a space in the depths of chaos. In an instant, it was more than 10 times larger than before. At the same time, the dragonwood star core seemed to contain many cosmic laws and star laws. After being devoured by Dumbo, they were all integrated into the Gaia space. I see. Xia Ping was enlightened. He also understood why the star core was so important to Gaia's growth. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was the most precious food. That was because every star core was the most precious essence of a planet, contained a vast amount of information about the laws of the world. For other living beings, this information about the laws of the universe was just an opportunity to comprehend it. However, it was different for Gaia. She could directly devour the star core, devour the energy within, as well as all sorts of cosmic laws, and make them her own. This saved him a lot of effort in comprehending the laws of the universe and sped up Gaia's growth. It seems that after devouring this dragonwood star core, Dumbo's strength will increase by leaps and bounds. If there is a chance in the future, I will need to collect a large number of star cores. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. He felt that collecting star cores through the All Saints Temple was a good idea because he was worried that he could not spend the points he had. However, after devouring the dragonwood star core, Gaia fell into a deep slumber again. This was a common occurrence for Gaia. Their slumber usually lasted for tens of thousands of years. For them, time was just a concept. There was no limit to their lifespan. A few days later, Xiaoping had finally devoured the pure energy he had obtained from the dragonwood star core. His magic power and cultivation base had improved by a large margin, and he seemed to be on the verge of stepping into the peak of the near-ancient mid-stage. Perhaps after a while, he would have the opportunity to break through to the late near-ancient realm. In truth, in the past few days, he had not only been consolidating his cultivation base and devouring the energy of the dragonwood star core, he had also been cultivating his cloning technique. At this moment, he had finally produced his third clone, Gaia's clone. This was a powerful avatar from the Gaia bloodline. Is this Gaia's bloodline and power? Xiaoping closed his eyes and immersed his consciousness into the Gaia avatar. It was as if he had transformed into a newly born Gaia, becoming a member of the strongest race in the universe. My God, this power, is this Gaia? He clenched his fists and felt the abundant power in his body. It was an unprecedented feeling of power. A light punch was enough to shake the void. Most importantly, his body seemed to have produced a Gaia world. It was vast, at least 10 light-years in diameter. However, this Gaia world was a new world, and the various universal laws had not been completely perfected. Even so, he could feel the boundless potential of his inner world. Is this Gaia's ability? Xiaoping continued to explore and immersed himself into the Gaia avatar. Immediately, he obtained a lot of information about Gaia. Race. Gaia Ability 1, Inner World. This is a world that Gaia was born with. It has the complete laws of heaven and earth, and can give birth to real life. This is a living space, almost unique. Ability 2, Gaia's Guard. All living creatures that die in this Gaia world will have their souls integrated into the Gaia world. Their souls will be engraved with Gaia's imprint and be bound by Gaia forever. If the dead soul is strong enough, it can survive in the void of Gaia and become a hero spirit. This way, it can still have the power it had when it was alive and become Gaia's guard, protecting the Gaia space. Ability 3, 3 Calamities and 9 Disasters. Born proficient in the power of calamities and understand the universal laws of calamities. It can even control the power of natural disasters at will, triggering various universal disasters. As expected of the strongest race in the universe, it actually has so many incredible abilities. Xiaoping was amazed. He felt that he had only just begun to understand Gaia's power. It was far more powerful and unbelievable than he had imagined. Ignoring everything else, just the second ability alone made him feel like it was a godlike ability. If there were some relatively powerful creatures, such as sages, they would turn into hero spirits after they died. They would be controlled by Gaia and become Gaia's loyal guards. In other words, as long as Gaia lived long enough and the life it gave birth to was strong enough, it would be equivalent to having countless powerful warriors and guards. Even if there was only one Gaia, it could become a super race. If there were dozens of ancient Gaias, it would be dozens of races. Furthermore, it would control an army of nearly undying hero spirit. Its strength was terrifying. Therefore, Gaia was considered the strongest race in the universe. No one dared to provoke it. This was the true saying that one person was a race. It seems like Gaia avatars have endless potential. I need to nurture them well. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. He had already given birth to 3 avatars. They were the Gaia avatar, the Infernal Golden Crow avatar, and the World Tree avatar. Each avatar was sufficiently powerful and had their own abilities. Also, he had killed quite a number of near-ancient sages this time. Through the World Tree, he had refined a large number of spatial fruits, allowing the 3 avatars to advance to the near-ancient realm. Their strength had increased by several times. Master. At this moment, the primordial heavenly dragon talisman's artifact spirit, Ao Wu's voice, sounded. After several days of searching, I have finally found a way to sneak into the dragon realm. I believe that as long as you enter this path, even the old antiques of the dragon race will not be able to discover you. However, this is a temporary path. You have to enter within a day. Otherwise, this path will disappear completely. You have to hurry and enter the dragon realm. Alright, lead the way. Xiaoping naturally did not hesitate and immediately took action.